2,300.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their tastier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
Right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
And
for our farmers and ranchers, I think there are only 47 votes.
Howie?
Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Mike Bloomberg is spending millions of dollars on all of his campaign ads, but we put together some of our favorite Bloomberg clips, and guess what, Mike? This one's totally free.
I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little. To be a farmer, it's a process. You dig a hole, you put a seed in, you put dirt on top, add water, up comes the corn. Then we had 300, you could learn that.
Donald Trump is the world's biggest schoolyard bully.
Big gay ice cream is the best. The Communist Party wants to stay in power in China, and they listen to the public. When the public says, I can't breathe the air, Xi Jinping is not a dictator. He has to satisfy his constituents, or he's not going to survive.
He's not a dictator?
No, he has a constituency to answer to.
I'm ready to get to work, so let's get it on.
I would be 79 years old when I took office. To start a 4-year job, maybe an 8-year.
Hey, Howie?
Yes.
You got a poll question?
I haven't got one. What do you think?
My wife thinks Trump should be wearing a mask at these press conferences. No? Howie? About should Trump be wearing a mask during these press conferences?
No, that's what I said. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
ColdSpringsRV.com.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
I'm sorry, someone working.
better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The Inspector General released a survey of more than 300 hospitals across the country, and the number one complaint from those hospitals were severe shortages of testing supplies.
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector
No,
General
what's his
report.
name?
I don't know his name.
If you find me his name, I'd appreciate it.
Question of the Inspector General. And by the way, her name was Christy Grimm.
When was she appointed?
I'll check.
No, let me know now. I have to know now, John.
She was appointed in January of this year.
A few moments later.
Did serve in the previous administration.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Oh, I see. You didn't tell me that. Did serve in the previous administration. You mean the Obama administration. Thank you for telling me that. See, there's a typical fake news deal.
You asked me when she was appointed. I told you when she was appointed.
You're a third-rate reporter, and what you just said is a disgrace. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much. You will never make it.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
It's incredibly frustrating, I think, for a lot of people watching this, and the way the president is using this and hijacking this coronavirus task force briefing every day.
And as a viewer, it makes me really enervated. It really makes me anxious. This is not helping.
Forgive me, sir, but I beg to differ.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
I believe that even though we should believe women, but that does not mean at the expense of not giving men their due process.
If these women, Julie Swetnick as well, if they were all lying, why is he not maybe threatening with a claim of defamation?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Milano knows as much about libel law as she does about acting, which is to say nothing. What a boob. Women must always be believed unless, of course, they credibly accuse a Democrat, whether his name is Sleepy Joe Biden or Fat Boy Ted Kennedy or Horn Dog Bill Clinton. Oh, boy. 844-500-4242. And again, this is an amazing moment in the history of television, as opposed to everything else it's unprecedented. But when people on a network that have ratings below the Golf Channel are complaining about the one show that's putting, as they used to say in baseball, fannies in the seats, and they want to cancel it, we have come to a really strange time in American history. They can't take it. I hope he keeps this thing going forever. These press conferences, I don't want I want America back to work, and I want this to be over. But I love the fact that he's using this thing every afternoon this way. I was just setting up an interview for the 6 o'clock hour of the show tonight, and with a Democratic politician. A Democrat politician wanted to come on the show, so I said for sure. So, but we're gonna have to work her in because, we have our entertainment for the 6 o'clock hour consists of Donald Trump, battling it out with nitwits. To a battle of wits, they come unarmed, as Billy Bulger used to say of Ed Markey. 844-500-4242. 561 says Milano has evolved on the. Oh, that's so true. She has evolved. Yes. Republicans flip-flop, Democrats and apologists for Democrat predators evolve on the issue. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon, we have a lot planned as all job for the president. She never held a press briefing. I met her over in West Palm during Christmas. She and I were both on it at the same studio in different segments of, I think, Tucker's show. And she was a decent person, but he likes to do his own press conferences, obviously, and so they hated her. And last week, she's never had a press conference. So today she basically gets moved. She got moved back to being Melania's press spokesman. He couldn't take a strong woman. She was great, but she was getting the job done. She was trying to temper him, so he had to get rid of her. Again, it's the same. It's the same old thing. Since everything is the same. Whatever he does, they're against it. When he had her in there, they hated her. So now she's gone. So she must be good. And her replacement, Kayleigh McEnany, who's been on this show several times, she's the replacement. So now she's terrible. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. And I won't keep you any longer here. We like to lead off with some Joe Biden stuff. Taylor, how was this Joe Biden stuff today? I've been tied up writing my column, doing other stuff. But
Grace actually cut all the sound today, so she knows. I don't. I'm going to be just as surprised as you.
Okay. Well, we don't want to disappoint people. People are used, and I include myself in that category. We've become accustomed to being amused by Joe Biden's latest stunts. Okay. So let's go with cut 3.
When in doubt, I have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But I learned everybody was making fun of that, and I found out John Kerry has the same addiction: peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
I thought his addiction was to heiresses. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And I thought he also liked a strange kind of straw that, you can't get a lot of places. You can get it in Nantucket. But, okay, so cut 11, please.
But these things are there's a virus. And a virus is what we're dealing with now. It's a particularly lousy kind of virus. It's like flu on steroids. It's a really bad kind of flu.
Can we quote you on that, Mr. Vice President? It's a really bad flu. Let's hear that one again.
But these things are there's a virus. And a virus is what we're dealing with now. It's a particularly lousy kind of virus. It's like flu on steroids. It's a really bad kind of flu.
It's a lousy flu. All right. 844-500-4242, 617. I'm enjoying the daily Trump rallies too, laughing out loud myself. I think he's getting so much better at them. Do you? Yeah, I think he is. I was listening. I was writing my column today about the press conferences, and I was on with Mark Simone on WOR today, and he's known the president a long time. And he said, "Don't you think you ought to cut him down a little bit, Howie? Don't you think they're running a little long, 2 hours a day?" And I said, "I think they're therapy for him, relaxation. He likes taking it out with it. I was thinking." Joe Louis used to, he would fight the old heavyweight champion. He would fight somebody every month. They would call it the Bum of the Month Club because nobody could come up to him. It was like going up against sparring partners. So, but it's also like the Harlem Globetrotters going up against the Washington Nationals. Remember those old games? And the Meadowlark Lemon or somebody would bounce a ball off the Washington Nationals head and then dunk it in. I mean, that's the kind of competition it is. I mean, they just don't have anything. They bring nothing to it. I thought of it today. All they care about is going up there. All they want to do is go viral. That's it. That's their whole dream.
Howie, John Carl did go viral. Hashtag We Love John was trending, which is very different from hashtag We Love Yamiche, which was trending the other day.
Yeah, they all want to be, and I said this in my column too, Grace. They want to be hashtag heroes. That just confirms it. That's their goal in life. It's not to break a story. It's not to inform the public. It's not to unearth some big scandal. It's to become a hashtag. I mean, that's rather a low goal, isn't it? Don't you think, Grace? I mean, compared to being a real reporter and getting something done. And then they get to go on, you know, the show for Anderson Cooper or Don Lemon or Rachel Maddow. And they
Hey,
go,
Howie.
how courageous you are. Yes, Grace.
Since I did cut the Biden sound today, I want you to know that you actually have something in common with Joe Biden.
What's
and
that?
It involves airplanes and snacks. Cut 10.
Are Fig Newtons your favorite snack?
Well, they're among the favorite. You know why? They're small and I can sneak them. That you can buy little packs of them and I get them on the on the planes when I fly back and forth.
I liked Fig Newtons when I was a kid. I'm not a big Fig Newton person, Grace. I don't think I'd had any in a long, long time. There were some here at Newsmax. And
you're a big take snacks on the plane and stick them in your pocket and then ask for double.
Oh, of course. But I like the Belgian cookies on JetBlue.
How he always goes, blue chips and Cheez-Its, please.
And Cheez-Its and some Belgian cookies. I'll take 2 of those Belgian cookies. Yeah, I do like those. But, I never got my kid an $83,000 a year job. Of course, my kids also aren't addicted to crack cocaine. Thank goodness. I guess I'm a lucky guy. 844-500-4242. Did I say the Washington Nationals? I meant the Washington Generals. I know the difference. I know that Washington Nationals are the baseball team that they now want to play in Arizona for this year. That would be great. That'd be great for home attendance, wouldn't it? All the games in Arizona. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Howie Carr Show podcast. Did you miss any hours of our show? Go to Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts and download any episode for free. Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not what your roommates or family are listening to. Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycons start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolated fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much. But no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble?
$100,000 5-star reviews. That's a lot. so you know it must be good. In fact, Honey's found over $2 billion in savings for its nearly 20 million members. Not using Honey is literally passing out free money. Download Honey on your computer for free at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie. And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side?
That's like 5 people.
I have time to do the poll question.
Say, play game. Sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
This is Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. That's why you need Simply Safe Home Security for just 50 cents a day. Head to simplysafehowie.com and get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Should President Trump wear a mask during his press conferences?
No, but if he did wear a mask after they've been demanding he wore a mask, they would be attacking him for wearing a mask. What do you have to hide from the American people?
94% say no, he shouldn't wear a mask.
I thought this would be the way it would work out, but we decided to go with it anyway since people are talking about it. Anyway, now we have a great cheap bastards deal here for this pandemic time, and it's DJ's Famous Wings in Falmouth, Massachusetts. DJ's has been around for a long time, since 1989. And joining us now is Ithne Carlin. Thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Hey, Howie, and it's Ethne. It's an old Gaelic name, Ethne Carlin.
Ethne.
And it's DJ's in Hyannis and Falmouth.
Okay, Hyannis and Falmouth. Okay. And and so tell us about what people you can go if you want to get a gift certificate. DJ's Famous Wings is open, and it's open for curbside delivery and for or curbside pickup, I should say, interior pickup and no contact delivery. And tell us what people can get there, Ethne.
Well, you know what, we're known for our wings here, Howie, on Cape Cod. We've been serving them up for 31 years. We started in 1989. We do have a full menu, so we are open Saturday through Thursday. Right now, our hours are 11 to 8 p.m., and on Friday and Saturdays, 12 to 9 p.m. And as you said, we're doing curbside pickup, no contact delivery, and very safe interior takeout. And all of our menu items are just, right now flying out the window. We're holding our own. We started as a pickup and delivery restaurant, so a lot of people know us as that. So we've been holding our own, and I've got great employees here who are, holding the fort down and happy to have their jobs. And we're serving a lot of the hospital workers, a lot of the nursing homes, a lot of the first responders. All of those people are very, very grateful that we're open, and we're so happy to be able to serve them.
Yeah, and a lot of people have tried to keep the restaurants going with just the takeout and the delivery, and it's traditionally such a small part of the restaurant. They haven't been able to hang on, so they've closed their doors until the emergency's over.
I know.
So it's great. That you're hanging in there, because and you have less competition, and people have fewer options now than they did before. But I'm so glad that DJ's is Famous Wings is so this is in both places in Falmouth and Hyannis.
Correct, absolutely. You know, it was when the news came down from Governor Baker on that Sunday night. You know, it was traumatizing not only for us but for a number of our friends and other restaurateurs, especially on the Cape. This is traditionally a time when a lot of people start opening, and are opening up their doors. So, it's horrifying. It's a very tough business. Margins are very, very tight. It's the end of the winter, and I feel dreadful for a lot of our fellow people out there that, really, really tried to do the takeout and delivery. In a way, we're fortunate that that's how we started, my husband and I, and there may be some trademark. I may have to come after you for some trademark. I've been calling him fat bastard for years, a lot longer. He takes it as a compliment too. But we started in 1989 just doing pickup and delivery. So we know how to do it. We know how to package it. We know how to time it. And, we do a full menu. Of course, the wings are highly popular.
So you still got the same menu. You still got the same menu that you had before the emergency.
Oh yeah, full menu is strong. Yes, sir. Absolutely. We're delivering. We have from steak tips to subs, our entrees, our appetizers, lots of subs. In fact, today we've been doing a lot of subs. We've had a lot of orders going over to the hospital, and we're doing it all. And I have a limited crew. We're very fortunate that we were able to give in this dreadful time. Our employees are so happy to have their jobs and to be able to pay their bills, and we're keeping it going for the economy. USA strong here, man. And the other half of our employees, we've taken very good care of them. They are, on unemployment and waiting. Hopefully that we'll be back on May 7th and, be able to open the bar side and the restaurant side and ring the bell and get back into gear. But of course, that's an unknown, and we'll see how long this lasts. But we are here for everyone. And again, all I can say is that I'm very grateful to the customers who have been so generous.
That's right.
In being to the drivers and to the counter staff and to all the customers that are supporting us during this time. It's full circle. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing that's going on.
Ethne, we're so glad you're staying open. Go to HowieCarrShow.com. You can get a $50 certificate to DJ's Famous Wings in Falmouth and Hyannis for just $25. HowieCarrShow.com. Click store. I'm Howie Carr.
The 2020 elections have the potential to shape the next decade financially. That's especially true if you're within 10 years of retirement. Is your plan ready? Find out with a portfolio stress test from Kevin Frisbee at Frisbee & Associates. Call 800-989-9100 for your no-cost, no-obligation analysis. Kevin can help uncover any hidden fees that may be lurking in your plan. The team at Frisbee & Associates are up to date on all the latest rules and regulations from what the Secure Act is and isn't to Social Security and Medicare. Let Kevin and the team give you peace of mind as you get near retirement. Make sure your plan is ready for whatever happens come November. It starts with a phone call to Frisbee & Associates, 800-989-9100. And be sure to catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday at 3:50 as he reviews the market. Call Kevin now at 800-989-9100. 800-989-9100.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word?
Poop.
Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop?
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. 603 says, if Trump wore a mask during the press conferences, one of the questions would be, Mr. President, what do you have to say to those who can't afford a mask? So true. Of course, the other question is, why aren't the people that are asking him about not wearing a mask, why aren't they wearing masks if it's so important? Anyway, we'll be talking about this all afternoon. 844-500-4242. Right now, though, I want to talk about something that we're going to start here on the Howie Carr Show, and it's called ER Eats, meaning Emergency Room Eats. And it's an effort to honor and thank those who are selflessly caring for the people in the hospitals. And as we were just talking with the owners of DJ's Famous Wings, there are fewer and fewer places that people can get food. The restaurants are having a tough time, making ends meet, even with the takeout and delivery with a reduced staff. So what we're going to try to do here at the Howie Carr Show is raise money to give to the hospitals in the area, and our listening area, mainly New England, of course, starting with Newton Wellesley, because we have a relationship with them. And we're going to try to, we're going to give money to the hospitals to buy meals to bring in to their hospital crews. And we're going to, we hope that they can work with some of our advertisers, our restaurants. We don't, we tried to put it together that way, but it's too complicated. So we're going to give the money to the hospitals and let them disperse it there, bring in the food as they see fit. And so you can go to howiecarrshow.com and just right on the top of the page, it's called ER Eats, and you can donate whatever you want from $4.99 up to whatever. When we're starting out the Howie Carr Show is giving $1,000, and we're also joined one of our corporate sponsors. We hope to have more as we go along, but our first corporate sponsor is our first sponsor when we started the show, which is Matthews Brothers Windows in Maine, and Bob Maines is joining us on the line now. Bob, thank you so much for being with us, and thanks for your support of ER Eats. All this money is going to go straight to the hospitals. We're not taking anything off the top. We just want to give back something to the people on the front lines here.
Well, good afternoon, Howie, and thanks a lot for the opportunity to join you with this one. When the mailroom manager called me last Friday and said, "This is what you guys were thinking," I don't think, on behalf of Matthews Brothers, we didn't hesitate to want to jump in and join you on this. But before we talk about that, can I mention something about President Trump and the mask?
Sure.
I'm old enough to remember a time when you go into a bank and a liquor store and they didn't want you to wear a mask on your face. So
it seems
dating myself here.
It seems to me, Bob, that it was only a couple of months ago that I went into banks and liquor stores and saw those signs, especially banks. Banks really banks don't even want you wearing baseball caps as you go through the doors, let alone a mask.
What a difference a day makes.
Right.
But back to the business at hand. This is an awesome initiative that you guys came up with, and I really want to salute you for doing it. And thanks for the opportunity.
And I think too that this is going to catch on with a lot of different people. We saw it on we got mentioned in talkers.com, and I was on with Sebastian Gorka talking about it, and I think a lot of stations and a lot of media groups should get involved in this. And like I said, it's really difficult it's increasingly difficult if you go to work somewhere and you're used to just going around to a drive-in and going to a takeout window and grabbing something. There are fewer and fewer of those places around, and we're all hoping they come back in a matter of days, if not weeks. But right now, the opportunities are few and far between to get any kind of takeout food, and there's only so much food you want to bring, to your workplace. And so this is a good opportunity to get money to hospitals. And the other thing, Bob, as you know, hospitals are hurting here too. All the elective surgery has been ended at a big Boston hospital. They just laid off 700 people. I mean, they're not.
Isn't that crazy?
They're not. Profiting here. Everybody is struggling, and if we can help out the people that are on the front lines and help out the restaurants too, that's what we want to help out. We talked to Zach's Lobster Tail restaurant and lounge in Windham, New Hampshire yesterday. He had 26 people when this thing started, and he now has 3 people working for him. And
I heard that.
And DJ's Famous Wings, they got half the staff working. I mean, that's more than most restaurants have still working for them. So everybody's hurting. This. How's Matthews Brothers doing in this downturn?
Well, we're still working full time. We have a full crew on. We had to have a couple of people that took voluntary time off because they had child at home that they couldn't get caretaking for, or home care for. So they took a sabbatical. But I would say 99% of us are at the work now. I'm closer to being an endangered species than an essential worker. So I'm doing my job off site, and some of us are also that can work off site are working off site. And we have relaid out our factory floor to give that 6-foot distance between workers. So we've been, I or anybody working there, but as a company, we have something of a corporate memory, and we've been able to respond to the changes that have been thrown at us on this one, I think in a pretty quick way. And that's true of almost every industry in this country. We're supporting the infrastructure. We have a lot of projects that are commercial going into affordable housing in Boston and the rest of New England, multifamily stuff. So
Make
those
sure you're
wheels
repeating
just
the
can't
website
stop.
address.
People need homes. They need protection, and we just can't pull the plug on that and say we're going to stay home for a few weeks and you guys stop your project. So we're doing our part, certainly not to the extent that the people that the president mentions every day in his press conferences that run into the hospitals putting on their gowns and caps and face masks to face another 8 or 10 or 12-hour session of dealing with this. But like the truckers and the farmers, we're doing what we can.
Right. If you'd like to give to ER Eats, Emergency Room Eats, go to howiecarrshow.com, and it's right there at the top of the page. It's the banner. And 413 says the hospital I work at does not allow outside food to be brought in. That's why we're going to make the donation straight to the hospitals themselves, and then they can decide how they're going to use it to provide food on the job for their crews, for the personnel, the medical staff. So that's why
local control is the best.
Right. As President Trump keeps telling the reporters every day at the press conference.
You're practicing federalism, Howard.
Right. Exactly. That's the brilliance of the founding fathers. They believed in federalism. We're trying to produce it here on a very small scale at the Howie Carr Show. We're going to cut out.
Let me tell you, down
middleman.
here where I am in Florida.
Yeah.
Down here in Florida, we have a lady in the RV park where we are. She's made face masks for everybody who's here. She just picks scraps.
Oh, that's like a bumper sticker I would see on a Prius in Cambridge, Bob. I don't like that. So it's ER Eats USA, Taylor?
EREatsUSA.com.
EREatsUSA.com. EREatsUSA.com. And that's where you can go to learn more about it. Or you could, like I said, you can go just straight to our website, HowieCarrShow.com, and click on the banner, and you can read up on it. And all the money will go straight to the hospitals. If you know a hospital that would like to get in on this and just get something from the money we're raising here, we don't know how much we're going to raise. So far, it's gotten off to a pretty quick start because people want to help out. And again, we hope that the hospitals will use the restaurants that are still in operation and that are still trying to provide services to people. And it's nice, There's only so much home cooking you can take. I mean, it's home cooking ain't what it's cracked up to be night after night, is it, Bob Maines from Matthews Brothers?
I would have to take issue with that statement.
Wrap it up.
I have
You've
an
got a line to
awesome
do,
cook
too.
for a wife, and I can't remember the last time I ate out. So I'll have to disagree. But in case the lovely Mrs. Carr didn't mention it, the owners of Matthews Brothers also, besides the sponsorship of this with you, they also authorized a $1,000 donation to the fund as well.
Oh, that's great, Bob. Thank you.
So,
we really appreciate it. We appreciate
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
who's donating to the cause, and the Howie Carr Show's chipping in $1,000 right here out of the box. And again, if you work at a hospital or you know a hospital that would like to get involved in this, again, go to our website or go to EREatsUSA.com and get involved in it, and we'll do the best we can. Okay, Bob. Thanks, Bob Maines. Thanks to you, and thanks to everybody at Matthews Brothers for supporting this. I think it's a good effort, and all the money will go straight to the hospitals. But thank you very much. Stay safe.
Let's all pay it forward.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better when I take Super Beets in the morning. Before I go out on my bike ride, before I have a cup of coffee, I put a teaspoon. I used to put it under my tongue, just straight out of the jar, but now I put it in water, stir it up, and just drink it right down. Gives me a boost of energy, makes me feel better. And I think it makes me healthier. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow. Better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But super beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of super beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. And the science team behind super beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. This level of research is unheard of in the nutrition category. These are just some of the reasons why I love super beets and why it's worked for me. To try super beets risk-free for 90 days, visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie and get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by IPL and Skin Wellness of Dover, New Hampshire. For all of your permanent hair removal, skin irregularity, and enhancement treatments by certified estheticians, go to IPLandskinwellness.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
If you're in or near the financial red zone, that's 2 to 5 years from retirement. Do you know how your nest egg would fare if the market had a major correction? Does your plan have too much risk? Are you being too conservative? It's time to stress test your retirement plan. Call Kevin Frisbee at Frisbee & Associates and ask for your retirement plan stress test. It's a $500 value and it's yours at no cost. 800-989-9100. Find out where your plan is today. Maybe it's time to lock in those gains, reduce your risk, and make sure your portfolio has the diversification needed to weather the inevitable bear market. Kevin can help take the worry out of living in retirement. Call now for your no-cost or obligation retirement stress test, a $500 value. Call Kevin today, 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100. And catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for a market review and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy. And I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
This is Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Excuse me? Oh, we got her on now.
Yes, you're on.
844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. And this is a great story from Michigan, where the governor was talking about how she didn't want pharmacists and physicians prescribing the anti-malarial drug. She was threatening professional consequences if they did so. Well, there's a member of her own party in the legislature, Representative Karen Whitsitt from Detroit, and she came down with coronavirus, and she was not doing well. But I'll let her explain what happened. It's great to have you with us here, Karen Whitsitt, on the Howie Carr Show. Tell us what happened.
Oh, I just want to thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate this opportunity.
So tell us. So when did you come down with coronavirus?
Well, my husband and I, we've been quarantined since March 12th, and I just knew that something just didn't feel right. Wasn't exactly sure what was going on. Just didn't feel good. I thought maybe I had a sinus infection. So my husband and I decided that we would just go ahead and make an appointment and go into the doctor. So we did that, scheduled the appointment for March 18th. So I missed session on March 17th. And my doctor actually took an x-ray of my chest and everything, thought I had a touch of pneumonia and the sinus infection. So gave me amoxicillin and sent me on my way. Gave my husband the same thing because he thought he had like a little bit of bronchitis going on, sent him on his way. So as the time is going on, I'm just feeling like this amoxicillin is making me feel worse. I'm not getting any better. So I called the doctor back, and he in turn sent me another antibiotic. And at this point, he sent me a Z-Pack.
Right.
I really hit a massive decline fast when I got that Z-Pack.
How old are you, Karen?
I'm 52. I have 2 underlying conditions. I'm diabetic, and I have Lyme disease.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah. So you're not in the age demographic.
My husband has no health conditions. Both 52 years old. We both are African American, live in Detroit. We try to be healthy. We eat very well. We eat healthy. And my husband does not take any medications at all. And he's never had any surgeries or anything like that at all. So he's the healthiest of both of us. So he's a mechanic at the Metro Airport here.
Right.
And so what we did was when I started to hit this decline, we decided to try to get a prescription, because at this time you needed a prescription only to be able to receive the COVID test.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm explaining to the doctor that I know I'm not showing all these signs that everyone else is talking about, but hey, I really need to get this test. This is not a joke right now, how I'm feeling. And at this point, I'm having sweat. I'm not having a fever. I'm just breaking out in sweat that would go away, come back up, go away, and come back up. I had problems with stiffness in my neck, and I had a headache that I could not ever get rid of. This was every day, 24/7, this headache.
So when did you get interested in the anti-malarial drug?
When I got interested in anti-malarial drug is when I thought that I was about to die on the 30th and on the 31st, and that was the day we actually went and got the COVID test. After we got tested, I hit a rapid decline that day. And when my doctor, who actually wrote the prescription for my husband and I to actually get the COVID test, he denied actually giving me the medication. So I had to contact another physician of mine, and that was Dr. Arsawala. And Dr. Arsawala was the one who actually gave me the medication.
Well, the governor had basically threatened the physicians who prescribed it, right?
Yes, she did. But I had to have a doctor that wasn't afraid. I had to have a doctor that was knowledgeable. And so I went with the doctor that was knowledgeable.
So you got the prescription. You got the prescription. How soon before you started feeling better?
Less than 2 hours.
Less than 2 hours. That's how I know. You know what they're saying now. These are all anecdotes. Representative Karen Whitsitt,
You know-
you're an anecdote.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, people can say whatever they want to say, and they can make all kind of rude comments, and they can make all kind of jokes about it. But until you are that person who is looking at making that life or death decision, and I consider it a life or death decision of going to the hospital, that is full. There are 2 hospitals that are directly near us, and they're full. So you just put this into your mind. You got to make a decision. You only have less than a couple hours. You feel your lungs filling up
30
with fluid.
seconds.
You can hardly breathe. Your breathing is labored just to go from the bathroom to your living room. You don't know what to do. The very doctor that is standing between you and living is telling you that he will not give you the prescription of the very thing that can keep you alive.
Who was
You're trying to stay calm.
who was right
So you tell me.
in your case?
But
Who was right?
Did
Trump?
you want the medication?
Was Trump right or the governor right? Who was right in your case?
The person who's making sure that you live.
Trump, in other words. Thank you, Representative Whitsitt.
Hey guys,
I'm Howie
it's
Carr.
Grace. Howie is always giving me great advice. Never speak when you can nod. Always get the deposit money on empty cans. But the best advice he ever gave me was to call the car guys to get my first used car. I had tried to go to dealerships in the past. Call the car guys today at 800-300-4600. I promise you won't be disappointed. That's 800-300-4600. Tell them Grace sent you.
I'm with Dr. Mary Clifton from Boomer Naturals. Dr. Mary, what is the main difference between CB5 and CBD?
CB5 actually stimulates all the same receptors in the body that the CBD does, but it doesn't have any CBD in it.
In this crazy time that we're in, it is so important to bolster your immune system. Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on the Boomer Naturals banner to get a very special deal that's only running now. Use code word Howie on the Boomer Naturals website. Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
Myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. That they wanted their voices to be heard. I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163. Was it 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on the town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
Your teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble with some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
The word that's helping Elizabeth Warren get through her so-so campaign? So.
Will you raise taxes on the middle class to pay for it, yes or no?
So the way I see this, so understand, taxing income is not going to get you where you need to be the way taxing wealth does. So no, and I'm not here to criticize other Democrats. So my proposal is that student loan debt would be canceled up to
our application.
So I grew up out in Oklahoma. So look.
Why did you check those boxes?
So.
Campers, have you thought of upgrading your RV or camper this year? This is Howie Carr. Right now at Cold Springs RV, you can shop great preseason deals on a brand new 2020 camper. Go see the latest in pop-ups, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motor homes. Cold Springs RV is your one-stop shop with over 200 acres of all things camping. It started with a camp resort, then came the RV center and superstore. Now they have the region's largest state-of-the-art service center and auto body shop. That makes Cold Springs your destination for all things camping. Remember, at Cold Springs RV, the doors are always open so you can freely browse. So go check out the latest 2020 models and see for yourself. If you're looking for a pre-owned RV, you'll also find one of the largest selections in New England. Don't miss the year's best selection and early bird savings at Cold Springs RV, and tell them Howie sent you. Cold Springs RV, Route 114 in Ware, New Hampshire. Online at coldspringsrv.com.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst.
Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. So what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay? Now, are we allowed to grow? I tried.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The Inspector General released a survey of more than 300 hospitals across the country, and the number one complaint from those hospitals were severe shortages of testing supplies.
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector
No,
General
what's his
report.
name?
I don't know his name.
If you find me his name, I'd appreciate it.
Question of the Inspector General, and by the way, her name was Christy Grimm. When was she appointed? I'll check. No, let me know now. I have to know now, John. She was appointed in January of this year.
A few moments later.
Did serve in the previous administration. Oh, you didn't tell me that. Oh, I see. You didn't tell me that. Did serve in the previous administration. You mean the Obama administration. Thank you for telling me that. See, there's a typical fake news deal. You asked me when she was appointed. I told you when she was appointed. You're a third-rate reporter. And what you just said is a disgrace. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much. You will never make it.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
It's incredibly frustrating, I think, for a lot of people watching this, the way the president is using this and hijacking this coronavirus task force briefing every day.
And as a viewer, it makes me really enervated. It really makes me anxious. This is not helping.
Forgive me, sir, but I beg to differ.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
I believe that even though we should believe women, but that does not mean at the expense of not giving men their due process.
If these women, Julie Swetnick as well, if they were all lying, why is he not maybe threatening with a claim of defamation?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon, the number is 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. We spoke in the last hour on our radio, the last moments of our radio broadcast with Representative Karen Whitsett from Detroit. And she had to go to she had coronavirus. She's now fully recovered, apparently. And she had her first doctor that she went to didn't want to prescribe her the anti-malarial drug that she now credits with saving her life within 2 hours. And the governor of her state had issued warnings to physicians and pharmacists not to prescribe the anti-malarial drug. And Donald Trump said, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We don't know, but it seems to be working anecdotally. That's what they're describing it as, anecdotally. If there's something Democrats don't really want to admit is working or don't want to admit is happening, they always dismiss it as an anecdote. But she's alive now, and we were happy to talk to her, and she's alive because of an anecdote, the anti-malarial drug. 844-500-4242. Joining us now is Grace with the news of the day.
I have more anecdotes to bring you all. I want to start, Howie. We have so much good sound today, but we also have a jam-packed show full of guests. So I'm going to just jump right in to some sound that I think is worth everyone listening to. I want to start with, for anyone who says, the media isn't wanting Trump to fail. The media isn't doom and gloom. They're just giving us the facts. Well, I want to play for you this cut. This is from Norah O'Donnell's program. Not sure where she even is anymore, Howie, like what time slot. She gets moved around a lot.
Isn't she CBS Evening News?
She's CBS. Yes, I think she is Evening News. There was a big shakeup at CBS. And so I want to play this cut. This is from CBS's Weijia Jiang. She's basically saying, you know what? Let's just play the cut. This is cut 21.
Nora, we will get to that. But first, today, President Trump insisted that all 50 governors are happy with his administration's response and said, again, there is light at the end of the tunnel. But some of his own health experts say we're not even in the tunnel. And this week could be our Pearl Harbor or 9/11 moment.
Wah, wah. Have you ever heard any leader say that to people? By the way, guys, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. In fact, we're not even in the tunnel. All right, everyone have a good one.
So, Grace, have you looked at some of these statistics? Like, for instance, California, where Gavin Newsom, the governor, was saying that a couple of weeks ago that there could be 25.5 million people infected in California. I looked at what the Sacramento Bee was reporting yesterday afternoon. I don't know what it is today, but yesterday afternoon, the Sacramento Bee said that in California, Golden State, 40 million people, fifth largest economy in the world, 14,000 people infected. That's a long way to 25.5 million people.
No, totally, Howie. And I just want to tell people that reporter from CBS, she was the same woman who got into a fight last week with Trump about Jared Kushner using the word "our" when describing the ventilators. He said, these are our ventilators, meaning the federal government. And she kept going toe-to-toe with Trump saying, what does he mean by that? What does he mean by that? Until Trump finally said, this is such a stupid question. I can't deal with this anymore. There was another thing on Twitter I saw today. This is not Tweetbeat, but we will get to Tweetbeat in a second. Her name is Allie Beth Stuckey. And I've seen her a lot. She's a commentator. She does really great stuff.
This is really, really funny.
We're not going to do the whole, I know, Howie, the thing is, I'm just jealous that she thought of it before me, because I could have totally gone viral and gotten a blue check if I did this.
Gone viral. There it is.
Hashtag we love Grace.
That's what you have to do. Everybody's got to be a hashtag hero. Every day they go into the press conference. Please, God, could today be the day
Please,
I go
let it be
viral?
mean to me.
Let me go viral. I'm going to be so insulting and so insolent to the president of the United States. I'm going to go viral.
So Allie Beth Stuckey, I believe she's a conservative, obviously, and she's mocking the press corps and how the press conferences always tend to go. And we're only going to play a little bit of it because it is pretty long, but some of the questions are so hilarious. This is cut one.
What do you say to the Americans who accuse you of being a terrible person? Mr. President, I have it on good authority that the reason why Dr. Fauci isn't here is because you and Vice President Pence threw him in a dungeon with crocodiles and alligators. Is there any truth to that? Do you ever worry, Mr. President, that you're acting too much like a fascist dictator? Why aren't you acting more like a fascist dictator?
Exactly.
I wanted to know why you physically poured fish tank cleaner down the throats of the Arizona couple, and if you'll be facing charges for that.
At The Hague, as a war criminal, as the state rep from Ohio she's been to The Hague, that state rep, so she wants to go back there to the World Court, knock on the door if they're still open in this pandemic.
Howie,
file charges.
Another thing I saw on Twitter today that surprised me was Tracy Morgan. He's a very popular actor. He was in 30 Rock. He was on SNL. He's a comedian. He was doing an interview with Hoda Kotb from the NBC, Good Day Today or whatever they're called now, the Today Show. And she was interviewing him about his TV show, but she was also, now everyone's doing these virtual interviews. You obviously are going to ask them, how are you doing with the coronavirus situation? And so the whole interview goes on. It was pretty funny, pretty humorous. And then at the end, he said something that shocked me. He kind of defended President Trump. This is cut 18.
This is a gift to the world to keep you entertained and maybe identify me like the struggle is real. Mm-hmm. Right now we're struggling. People want to criticize the president, but imagine being the president of a country and have your country got sick. So it's difficult for him. We all got to pull together as people now. Now is not the time for blame and all of these other things and anger. It's here now. We got to just be together. We got to all stay safe. Nobody wants to transmit it. Nobody wants to attract it. Nobody wants to get it. Mm-hmm. So let's just stay safe and do the protocol that we have to do to protect our kids and our pets.
Wow.
Now is not the time for blame. Tracy Morgan, you're fired.
Exactly. He's going to be boycotted. But I do think it's interesting, this idea of we're also used to Trump at this point, but it's similar to what Joe Rogan said yesterday, where no one knows the pressure of the presidency and you're never going to know it unless there's a very small chance you become president. So the fact that Trump is out there every day for 2 hours, I mean, you can give Biden a pass on a lot of things if you're a Democrat, but there's no one out there who's going gun-ho for Joe Biden claiming he could do half of this stuff because they know he can't. He doesn't have the mental capacity and he doesn't have the physical strength, I don't think, to stand up there for 2 hours. So I think everyone's starting to realize that all things considered, we are in good hands, and we're all lucky that it's not Obama or it's not, Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton, and that it is Trump. And I think even some Hollywood people are starting to figure that out.
But they're so angry at him. I mean, this whole thing, this Thomas Friedman from the New York Times. I mean, I know it's in the intro, but a guy from the New York Times. This guy is a columnist. He's a reporter. Hasn't he won some big prizes? The Pulitzer, they all win Pulitzer prizes. So I guess
what do those even mean, though?
Yeah,
Howie, nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, they handed out Pulitzer prizes to the New York Times and the Washington Post for their deeply reported story on a story that didn't exist, which was Russian collusion. So yeah, they don't mean anything. But I mean, if a guy works for a major metropolitan newspaper, should he be admitting that he gets the vapors from watching a presidential press conference? That's
exactly.
What he said.
It gives him anxiety. And for Anderson Cooper, it's very frustrating for Anderson Cooper. And for Mika Brzezinski, she sounds like she's about to cry when she talks about the press conferences. And to all of those people, I have to say, get a grip. It's like the part of the movie where you grab the person and slap them and say, get a hold of yourself, damn it. Everyone needs to take a deep breath. It's a press conference. And I hate to break it to them, but more than half the country is sitting here with our popcorn and we're enjoying these press conferences. That's really the only thing getting us through a lot of this turmoil is watching Trump pounce on these people.
Mika, you know what really concerns her, Grace?
What?
The president of the United States gets better ratings on MSNBC than she and her lovely dear husband get.
And she says, I think we all really need to think about this and think about whether or not we really want to play these press conferences every day and just put the lies into the American people's eyes and ears. They have to hear this every day and people are dying. It's like, give me a break, Mika. He's the president. It's the one time you guys could have high ratings, but if you don't want them, whatever. Guys, this segment is brought to you by Boomer Naturals. Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on the big Boomer Naturals banner to check out their CB5 supplements. Really cool. If you're a little bit scared of cannabis, it's all the same benefits of CBD, but without the cannabis element. So go to HowieCarrshow.com, click on that banner, and if you use code word Howie at checkout, you will get a couple of free goodies and a really good deal. So HowieCarrshow.com, click on the banner.
What do you got coming on the other side, Grace?
Howie, someone's trying to get out of jail, and the judge is saying, no cigar. Someone's using the coronavirus defense.
There are multiple people using it, aren't they?
Many
beautiful people who now find themselves behind bars are using this defense.
I'll give you a tease. He believes he can fly.
Okay, that doesn't help me much, but maybe it helps somebody else. We'll be right back with the answer. I'm Howie Carr.
They call him the trash man, but we'll call him Captain Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by MyCube Safe. MyCube is extending their sale for $200 off plus free shipping. Safes are needed now to store cash, ammo, and guns. Email Scott at mycubesafe.com. Only 50 available.
Are you concerned about market volatility in this political and economic environment? Kevin Frisby and the team from Frisby & Associates can help you weather the ups and downs of the market, all while preserving assets and growing your portfolio. Call Kevin today for a no-cost 1-hour financial consultation. 800-989-9100. As president of Frisby & Associates, Kevin has been helping people just like you create a retirement and income plan to get you to and through retirement. We're experiencing the longest bull market in American history. Isn't it time to lock in your gains? In fact, what if you could lock in your gains and still be in a position to participate in gains without suffering losses if the market plunges. Schedule your free consultation now. 800-989-9100. You can also catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon as he reviews the market and offers tips to a successful retirement.
Finds the best promo codes so you don't have to search for one yourself. No more Googling promo codes and only finding expired ones. No more digging in the dark corners of the internet, desperately looking for a discount. Just download Honey to your computer and head to one of your favorite shopping sites like Walmart, Home Depot, eBay, Target, etc. When you check out, click the little Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey has over 100,000 five-star reviews. That's a lot. So you know it must be good. In fact, Honey's found over $2 billion in savings for its nearly 20 million members. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. Download Honey on your computer for free at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
This is Chris in Rochester, Mass.
This is Mark in Nashville, New Hampshire.
This is Lorna in Truxtown, Pennsylvania. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. That's why you need Simply Safe home security for just 50 cents a day. You need Simply Safe for any property you own. There's a commercial real estate burglaries in New York City, for instance, are way up because many of the businesses are shut down. And so the burglars are running amok. Don't let them run amok in any property you own. Head to simplysafehowie.com and get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Should President Trump wear a mask during his press conferences?
No, he should not.
7% say yes.
Okay. All right, Grace, you got a lot of stuff to get to here in this segment.
I do, Howie. I have a lot of tweets to get to. It's I want to start with a tweet from John Hayward. Okay, he tweeted this out today and said the media is putting 100 times more effort into attacking chloroquine than they are into criticizing the Chinese Communist Party for unleashing the pandemic. They're hitting this medicine. They're hitting this medicine like Trump just nominated it to the Supreme Court.
I wish I'd tweeted that out.
It's a great tweet. I also have this exciting news from Brian Stelter. Just announced CBS, ABC, NBC networks are coming together to air One World Together at Home on Saturday, April 18th. Colbert, Kimmel, and Fallon will co-host. It'll broadcast on more than a dozen cable channels. Set your DVRs, everyone. That last part was me telling everyone to set their DVRs. And
I'll find something else to do.
I can think of so many things I'd rather be doing.
Yeah.
Very painful things that I'd rather be experiencing.
I've been meaning to sweep the kitchen.
I mean, I would watch the Golf Channel over that. But Howie, you made a knock on the Golf Channel in the first hour, and I just have to say they've been playing a lot of great stuff lately. They've been doing a lot of Tiger Woods' best moments. Pretty entertaining. I would take that over Brian Stelter any day of the week.
I don't like recorded sporting events from the past.
Oh, it's all we've been watching at my house.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I've watched Bruins games from 10 years ago. And somehow
did you post that thing about everybody's favorite movies that they should be catching up on?
I have an exciting announcement that I will be telling everyone in the upcoming days.
Because I spent literally 3 or 4 minutes working on that list. And I haven't seen any response to it. I was wondering what happened.
And that's 3 or 4 minutes that you might never get back, Howie. I hate to tell you that. No, that will definitely be posted. Don't worry. Joe Concha tweeted out a photo of Governor Ralph Northam putting on his own blackface when he put a mask on to show the people of Virginia how to wear one. I don't know who in his camp, his PR camp, didn't say, maybe we skip the visual here.
But fortunately, he's a Democrat, so the NBC affiliate in Washington, D.C. immediately deleted the tweet.
You know what's interesting, Howie? I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but I was looking at the Trump press conference from yesterday, and I was looking for the cuts of the IG, and the woman asking for the IG, I don't really know who she looked like. Katie Tur, but she wasn't Katie Tur. And then John Carl, and then the whole back and forth. And the press conference thing I clicked on, I can't remember what network it was. They cut it out. It was cut out of the broadcast, and then I had to go to some random one. But now they don't even want us to see their reporters getting dunked on. How many more?
Well, we want the viewing public of America wants to see them getting dunked on.
That's why you have to watch it live. All right, guys. R. Kelly loses bid to leave jail amid coronavirus pandemic.
Oh no!
The 53-year-old R&B icon filed requests with federal judges citing his age and his recent hernia surgery, and he said those put him in high risk for catching the coronavirus.
His hernia surgery? I've had that 2 or 3 times. Please, give me a break.
Where's your sympathy?
Bernie Madoff wants to get out of prison. Who doesn't want to get out of prison because of this? I'm Howie Carr.
Every 4 years, we as a nation agree to suspend disbelief and accept at face value the word of people who are both strangers to us and to the truth. We call this quadrennial descent into self-delusion the presidential election cycle, and we here at Matthews Brothers have lived through 41 of them over the past 166 years. Now, while we expect our trusted politicians to look us in the eyes and lie to us about their past behavior and future performance, we're less tolerant about performance claims when it comes to important stuff like medicine or windows. Unfortunately, stretching the truth is not limited to those seeking public office. We see it in the home improvement industry as well. In a desperate effort to make a sale, some companies will exaggerate, distort, hyperbolize, and otherwise try to mislead the public. That's why we here at Matthews Brothers love the interwebs and all the data they contain. We believe that the more accurate information a consumer has, the better equipped they are to make a choice, whether it's a window or even a president. You can learn more about the amazing performance of our authentic, wicked awesome Maine-made products, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with 1 T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really
learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. J-O-B-S, jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year, because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Joining us now on the line is Ronna Romney McDaniel. She is the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. Ronna, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show on a very busy day for news, as always.
Well, thanks for having me. Great to be with you.
How do you think the president's prospects for re-election are after weeks of this shutdown? The unemployment rate is way up. Does the economy, does he have to put the nation back to work and end the national emergency very soon, or what?
Well, I think the president said it very well yesterday, which is, I've done a good job getting our economy moving once, and I can do it again. I think he recognizes the balancing act of the health and safety for the American people, but also that we need to have jobs and people working. And so he's listening to the scientists, but he's also figuring out ways that we can get our economy back going again. So I think the president is exactly the right person. And let's talk about something else, Howie, is the president as a candidate was the one raising the alarm bells from a national security standpoint of having all of our supply chain and manufacturing in other countries. He said early on, we are allowing China to have too much of our supply chain on every level, and we have let manufacturing leave the United States of America, and exactly the things that we need to make ventilators and change things or get things going for this coronavirus outbreak are the things the president was raising alarm bells for early on, and he did bring back manufacturing. So he's been spot on long before this pandemic.
How does he keep getting blamed for this pandemic when he was the one who shut off the travel from China, which was, I think, the most necessary step, as he keeps saying, and I think most people now agree, and Joe Biden even agrees, even though he called it racist and xenophobic when the president actually imposed it back in January, not February or March, January, the president imposed that travel ban.
Well, let's be honest. The Democrats want open borders. If they had their way, people would be coming into this country. We'd have no idea who they were. And that's why the president's policy on knowing who's coming into this country was so smart. And then closing the travel to China when he did, when Democrats were focusing on the impeachment and calling him racist, he was spot on. So why are they blaming him? They're blaming him because he's in front of the American people every day, bringing in the private sector, working with Democrats, working across the aisle, and saying, let's put all hands on deck to solve this problem. And they've seen his poll numbers go up. So now they are doing everything they can to attack him, to blame him. They're using their media allies because they want to bring his numbers down, because for them it's about the election and not about solving the crisis. And it's really, truly shameful. And I think the American people are seeing through it.
Isn't it amazing, Ron McDaniel, that, a month ago they were complaining there are no press briefings daily anymore in the White House. Now they're complaining that there are too many daily press briefings in the White House.
Yeah, it's amazing that they wouldn't want the president to give us updates. I watch them every day. Yesterday, I was learning about the antibody test. There were things that I had not heard in any of the briefings. Every day I learned something new. The American people are being calmed and reassured by our president as he's bringing in industry leaders, the private sector, using our all of the resources that the government has at its disposal to deal with a national global emergency. It was a natural disaster that hit the whole world at once. And people are scared and they've lost jobs and they're worried about loved ones. And having him be that calming presence every day at 5 o'clock is great for our country. It's bad for Democrats, though, because it's about politics for them and not about how do we help our president in this time of need for our country. It's about how do we win elections. And it's just really something that's shameful. And I think a lot of Americans are watching this and are disgusted by Democrats and what they're doing.
In the last hour on the show, we had a state rep from your home state of Michigan, Karen Whitsitt. Mm-hmm. And you know her story. She's from Detroit. She's a Democrat. She's African American. And she was sick with coronavirus. And she went to the doctor and said, can I get some of this anti-malarial drug that might work and might save my life? And her doctor said, no, I can't prescribe it because the Democrat governor of Michigan had promised to punish any physician or pharmacist who gave out the anti-malarial drug. She had to go to a second doctor, and it saved her life. And
she credited the president. Yes,
right.
She credited the president. She said, I mean, this is a Democrat. She is not a fan of President Trump from a policy perspective, but she was sick. And it was banned in our state, this anti-malarial drug. And she said the only reason she knew about it was because of President Trump. And so this is some of the things that the president has brought to this crisis. He said, this is the drug. We've got to test it. We've got to get the data. But let's let people use it if they're in a tough situation, because anecdotally, we're hearing that this is helping some folks. And she is a perfect example of that. And now you're seeing my governor of Michigan and Cuomo all saying we'd like more of this drug. But again, this is what the president has done so well, is bring in the private sector. He is innovating. He is saying, let's get everybody that we can into this solution. We had an outdated CDC. We had a national stockpile that had not been replenished after H1N1 under Obama and Biden. And this president has done everything he can to get all cylinders running to help the American people.
I mentioned earlier in the day that Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, had predicted a couple of weeks ago that 25.5 million Californians could be infected with coronavirus. And it turns out that as of yesterday, it was 14,000. Maybe it's up to 20,000 today, but that's a long way from 25.5 million. Minnesota, the governor was predicting a couple of weeks ago that there might be as many as 75,000 fatalities. Then he lowered the estimate to 50,000. Now it turns out in Minnesota there are 30 dead instead of 75,000, and the average age is 86. I mean, is it perhaps time to start thinking about getting America back to work?
Yeah, I think we're hearing that. I think there are ways to safely start putting industries back to work, and it's different state by state. And these governors and their executive orders, what they've deemed essential and non-essential businesses. So I think the president's looking at that. You know, he said often we can't let the cure be worse than the disease, and so we don't want to dismantle our whole economy. I think he did the right thing extending the social distancing until April 30th. We're seeing that that's working. But panic isn't going to solve this problem. And it's unfortunate that you're seeing many Democrats try and engage panic and fear. And the president is counteracting that by bringing science and logic and action to the American people daily in these briefings.
On the other hand, if he does, lift the national emergency and tells people they can go back to work, he'll be blamed for anything. I have in my hand a story here from the New York City comptroller from the Washington Examiner, Scott Stringer, a Democrat, obviously. His mother, 86 years old, died on Friday, and he is now saying that Donald Trump has blood on his hands. Not the mayor of New York City, who told people to go down to Chinatown for New Year's and told them to go to movie theaters as late as last month. Not the governor of New York, who closed 20% of the hospital beds, shut them down in New York State during his term as governor, but the president of the United States. He has blood on his hands. I mean, that's what we're going to hear up to Election Day, aren't we, Ronna?
We are. We're going to hear this over and over again. Everyone buckle your seatbelts, because that's the playbook. They're going to blame everything that's happened, every death, every tragedy on the president. And I think the American people are smart enough to know that this is something that the whole world's dealing with. The president acted as swiftly as he could, and he's brought every mind together to try and solve this crisis, but it's a crisis. And for Democrats to try and lay blame on the president and to see these hyperbolic attacks, bloods on his hands and all these things, that is not what the American people want to see. They want to see we came together in a time of crisis, and we reached out across the aisle. And we did everything we could together. That's what America's about. And you are seeing that with some Democrat governors. Even Cuomo and Newsom and blue states have said the president's given us everything we've asked for. And that's, I think, what the spirit of America is. But we're going to see a lot of this because there's an election around the corner. And I hope it backfires on the Democrats. I just hope it does. I hope the American people do not reward that type of behavior.
Is Joe Biden going to be the Democrat nominee, Ronna?
I think he will. I got asked that question today on a conference call. I think he will. He's got to get to the 1,991 delegate threshold. But boy, every time you see him, you wonder. I mean, he's not even campaigning. He's not exhausted, and he still can't get his facts straight. These counter programming briefings have been dismal, to say the least. He doesn't have.
You're being kind.
I'm being kind, but I mean, he's calling on the president to enact the Defense Production Act, and the president did that a month ago. So I mean,
and he can't even remember the name of it. He's come up with three or four different names for it as time has gone on. Just like he can't remember the name of the virus, he keeps coming up with different names for that and comparing them to earlier viruses that he can't remember their names either.
Well, I said this early on. Once he became the nominee, he'd play hide and seek, play on words, hide and seek, because he's going to hide from the electorate as much as possible, because the more you hear Joe Biden, the more you go, okay, this guy is not ready to be president.
Who's going to be his running mate?
And
who's your prediction on who's going to be his running mate? If he's going to be the nominee?
Oh, I'm not going to say. I have a few. Well, he said it's going to be a woman. He's guaranteed that. So
he was with your governor today, Whitmer.
You get that.
He was with your governor today.
Yeah, you get that. Yeah, she was asking him about snacks, his favorite snack,
Fig
instead of
Newtons.
focusing on my state. Yeah, instead of focusing on my state and the issues that we're having, as we're the epicenter of this. She was asking Joe Biden about what snacks he likes to eat. Thank you. That was very helpful for us here. But yeah, I think my governor's in the running, Gretchen Whitmer. I think Kamala Harris is in the running, Stacey Abrams. There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of women on that list. Maybe Hillary Clinton. We'll see.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren is trying to get back in it with her plan for mail-in voting. That's a great idea. That would be what could possibly go wrong, right, Ronna?
Yeah, talk about a plan that's going nowhere. We just won a huge case in Wisconsin yesterday, and everybody should be aware that the Democrats have a mantra: never let a crisis go to waste. And they are trying to enact all types of election reforms that will hurt the safety and the integrity of the election. And we're going to fight them tooth and nail. We won yesterday in Wisconsin as they tried to get rid of ID laws and tried to get rid of witnesses on absentee ballots. We're going to push back.
They vetoed it, and the new Democrat governor in Kentucky vetoed the legislation that went through the Republican majority in Frankfurt to establish voter ID requirements in voting in Kentucky. It's a struggle state to state. They want no IDs.
The Democrats want porous elections, and they don't want safeguards on elections. And you know what? I want everyone who is eligible to vote to be able to vote, but I certainly do not want people who are not legally allowed to vote to have a say in our elections in our country. And you think the Democrats who talked about foreign interference over and over again would think that way too. And why shouldn't we have an ID and know who's voting? We have to have an ID to get on a plane, to go into a building. Anything we do in our lives, we have to prove who we are. But for some reason, to have an ID to vote is criminal, according to Democrats. Why is that? It makes common sense. And I think we should all question why they want to take away the integrity and the safety and the fairness and the freedom of our election.
Ronna Romney McDaniel, thanks for being with us. She's the chairman of the Republican National Committee, and we always appreciate you having you on the show. Thanks, Ronna. Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Usually we just brush it off or blame ourselves, saying things like, I lost my mojo, or we avoid it altogether with excuses like, I had a long day at work, or sorry, honey, I'm just not feeling it. Maybe tomorrow. But with Roman, it is easy to talk about with a real doctor who can prescribe real medication. It's simple, safe, and totally discreet. You may be spending a lot more time at home these days. You're not going to work, or you're working from home. You can just have a conference with a doctor online on the internet. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. The doctor will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, simple, and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to getroman.com/Howie and complete an online visit. Erectile dysfunction used to be tough to tackle, but now there's Roman. Complete an online visit today to connect with a doctor and take care of it. Just go to getroman.com/Howie to get a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's getroman.com/Howie for a free visit to get started. Getroman.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Salt Air Inn Bed and Breakfast in Bar Harbor, Maine, just steps away from Acadia National Park. Call Matt or Christy at 207-288-2882. That's 207-288-2882.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them.
we're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets.
The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
If you're in or near the financial red zone, that's 2 to 5 years from retirement. Do you know how your nest egg would fare if the market had a major correction? Does your plan have too much risk? Are you being too conservative? It's time to stress test your retirement plan. Call Kevin Frisbee at Frisbee & Associates and ask for your retirement plan stress test. It's a $500 value and it's yours at no cost. 800-989-9100. Find out where your plan is today. Maybe it's time to lock in those gains, reduce your risk, and make sure your portfolio has the diversification needed to weather the inevitable bear market. Kevin can help take the worry out of living in retirement. Call now for your no-cost or obligation retirement stress test, a $500 value. Call Kevin today, 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100. And catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for a market review and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much, but no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time up at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
This is Karen from Billerica, Massachusetts.
This is Adrian in Swanton, Vermont.
This is Miss Susan up in Warner, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. The White House press corps it's like before a football game, they're all batting their shoulder pads. Who's going to go viral today? Who's going to make a pluperfect ass out of himself or herself and get a pat on the back from Don Limon or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Lawrence O'Donnell? 844-500-4242. Russ, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Russ.
You know how you always say, I want to be treated just like an illegal alien?
Yes.
Well, I want to add myself to that list because right now in the hospitals, if you're an illegal alien or a legal alien and you don't understand English, you get an interpreter. And
that's always been the case, Russ. That's for the last, I don't know how many years. Right?
Yes, Howie, but right now they will not allow you to bring your family member in there as an advocate, as an American. That's the difference. And that's what's aggravating. And as far as Fauci is concerned, he's just a little weasel. He's a pessimist, and Roosevelt would have fired him in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Can you imagine Franklin Delano Roosevelt being asked these kinds of questions at a press conference after Pearl Harbor? Someone tweeted this out, put a picture of all the reporters in FDR's time and, put little balloon captions. What about the sailors on the USS Arizona? Do you share some of the blame by imposing those tariffs on oil? what are you talking about? The Japanese, all Japanese? It's just, it's ridiculous to even think about. But I don't think, how seriously can you take it if this is how seriously the White House press corps is taking it? Because it's a game to them, obviously. They don't care about the facts. They're just going for their viral moment. Thanks for the call, Russ. Laurie, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Laurie.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
I've heard a lot of people say that comparing the coronavirus to like a bad flu, but I used to be a med tech, and what jumps out at me is the respiratory component.
Right.
And like the shortness of breath, the bronchitis, pneumonia, winding up on a ventilator, and Karen Whitson had some of that too.
Yeah, she just said, yes, that's what she said.
Yeah, and I get a pneumonia shot, and I'm wondering if this is a viral pneumonia.
I don't know what it is, but I mean, the people with the underlying conditions include diabetes and lung problems. I mean, I think those are the two leading underlying causes of death. And so, if you're way overweight too, one of the 600-pound guy that was on TV in one of those reality shows, he just died at the age of 49. I don't know. I'm Howie Carr.
Why is finding promo codes that actually work so hard? With Honey, it doesn't have to be. Honey is the free online shipping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes so you don't have to search for one yourself. No more Googling promo codes and only finding expired ones. No more digging in the dark corners of the internet, desperately looking for a discount. Just download Honey to your computer and head to one of your favorite shopping sites like Walmart, Home Depot, eBay, Target, etc. When you check out, click the little Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey has over 100,000 five-star reviews. That's a lot. So you know it must be good. In fact, Honey's found over $2 billion in savings for its nearly 20 million members. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. Download Honey on your computer for free at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of two poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I loved those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
President Trump's life has changed a lot in the last couple of years, but one thing that remains consistent, his love for a good nickname.
What happened to Mini Mike? Where's he? Mini Mike, I've had him up to here. Sleepy Joe has no idea what he's even talking. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Sleepy Joe, get off the stage, please. I don't think the guy's got a chance. Sleepy Joe, I don't think he's got it.
I don't know. I think Sleepy Joe may be able to limp across the finish line.
Crying Chuck. I don't want to say Crazy Nancy because if I say that, you're going to say it's a copy of Crazy Bernie, and that's no good. Who that judge? Alfred E. Newman.
You know, I thought Pocahontas was gone, left in embers. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year. Did you ever hear Pocahontas? It's Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren.
Little pencil neck Adam Schiff. Got the smallest, thinnest neck I've ever seen. But Nancy Pelosi, I call her Nervous Nancy. Crooked Hillary.
Crooked Hillary Clinton.
Bill Clinton said to Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary, do you think he calls her Crooked Hillary, Mike?
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is.
The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on Crazy Maisie Hirono.
I am not going to be a fool to Mitch McConnell's shenanigans. Why should any of us? And it's not just a dog whistle, it's a bullhorn. Bullhorns. It's racism. It's basically, for many people, it's anti-Semitic. It's white supremacy.
Why not take a stand and vote yes for it? Seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at? I'm confused. This was just a sham.
Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country. And I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up.
I think the noose is closing, and, you know, Giuliani is like a loose cannon, and so is the president, frankly.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK.
The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan.
8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way. If Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, the demagogues around the world.
We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS.
It would put 720 million women back in the workforce.
I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP? Yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing? The bills that the future president here, that the senator's talking about.
Campers, have you thought of upgrading your RV or camper this year? This is Howie Carr. Right now at Cold Springs RV, you can shop great preseason deals on a brand new 2020 camper. Go see the latest in pop-ups, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes. Cold Springs RV is your one-stop.
Yes.
Don't miss the year's best selection and early bird savings at Cold Springs RV, and tell them Howie sent you. Cold Springs RV, Route 114 in Ware, New Hampshire. Online at coldspringsrv.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, you know? I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The Inspector General released a survey of more than 300 hospitals across the country, and the number one complaint from those hospitals were severe shortages of testing supplies.
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector
No,
General
what's his name?
report. I don't know his name.
If you find me his name, I'd appreciate it.
Question of the Inspector General, and by the way, her name was Christy Grimm.
When was she appointed?
I'll check.
No, let me know now. I have to know now, John.
She was appointed in January of this year.
A few moments later.
Did serve in the previous administration.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Oh, I see. You didn't tell me that. Did serve in the previous administration. You mean the Obama administration. Thank you for telling me that. See, there's a typical fake news deal.
You asked me when she was appointed. I told you when she was appointed.
You're a third-rate reporter, and what you just said is a disgrace. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much. You will never make it.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
It's incredibly frustrating, I think, for a lot of people watching this, and the way the president is using this and hijacking this coronavirus task force briefing every day.
And as a viewer, it makes me really enervated. It really makes me anxious. This is not helping.
Forgive me, sir, but I beg to differ.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
I believe that even though we should believe women, but that does not mean at the expense of not giving men their due process.
If these women, Julie Swetnick as well, if they were all lying, why is he not maybe threatening with a claim of defamation?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
That's the same Alyssa Milano who sat behind Brett Kavanaugh at his confirmation hearings when he was answering the baseless, groundless, fabricated charges against him. And now there is a credible accusation of sexual assault against her boy, her man, her grandpa, Joe Biden. And nothing to see here, folks. Move along. That's what she says. Meanwhile, as after John Carl was dressed down by the president yesterday, he was the idiot of the day. Someone suggested we should have an idiot of the day contest here at the Howie Carr Show. Who will make the
I've already got enough work to do every day. I don't need an idiot of the day.
No, we could just, it doesn't have to be a formal thing, but, did somebody particularly stand out yesterday? I think it would be John Carl would be yesterday. But, again, for John Carl, he's got some new unreadable book coming out. He wants to sell 15 copies, and then he would have more sales than Jim Acosta did for his unreadable book. So as soon as he was dressed down by the president, I'm sure he just ran outside of the briefing room and pulled out his smartphone and checked out if he had got how many books he had sold on Amazon, what his ranking was on Amazon. How much did I go down on the Amazon list? Oh, can my agency, if I can get booked on Don Limon, or maybe Steffi will have me on Good Morning America tomorrow. I'll be so excited. Oh, they're so courageous, They are just so courageous, having to be called a third-rate reporter. Okay, time now for the chump line.
If the president has to wear a mask for his pressers, he should put on a Barack Obama mask.
That's a good suggestion. How that would really drive them crazy. You think they were bad last night? They were clutching their pearls and getting the vapors and rending their sackcloth and ashes. That would be the ultimate for them.
Howie, you are so right. I don't watch recorded sports with one exception. I can watch Bobby Orr beating up Peter Mahovlich of the Canadians all day long, baby.
Well, I mean, how often are you going to see that? They can't play that on ESPN every night. Bruce from the Mets says the only ones he watches are the games of himself pitching that his mother recorded. I must say that I think the last recorded sporting event that I watched was when Bing Crosby owned a piece of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the 1960 World Series. And so there was no DVRs or anything like that, or ESPN back in 1960. So he was out for the seventh game, and he just put a camera in front of the TV set and recorded it. And I guess ESPN got a copy of it many, many years later, and they had it with all the advertisements, all the old beer commercials and the cigarette commercials. That was really cool. I would watch that again. The Pittsburgh Pirates, New York Yankees, seventh game of the World Series at I think it was Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. Great stuff.
Copy.
The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, who are still making wicked, awesome windows. They've lived through cholera, typhoid, measles twice, Spanish and Asian flus, diphtheria, polio, whooping cough, bird and swine flus, Ebola, Zika, and now COVID. We as a nation will defeat this. Stay well, stay safe, and stay positive.
This just in from CNN. Skydiver who forgot parachute before jumping from plane dies of coronavirus.
Trump, one more line. Trump blamed.
Now that Joe Biden and Trump have had their call, maybe Trump should implement some of Joe's ideas. I'm not sure if he should implement the ones that Joe can barely remember or the ones he can only vaguely articulate.
Go ahead.
I'm going to ask my mom if that offer to slap me into next year is still on the table.
Oh, by the way, Matthews Brothers is joining us in sponsoring ER Eats. That's we're trying to raise money to give to hospitals to provide for food for their emergency room and their hospital personnel during this time of crisis. You can donate. We're not taking any money off the top or anything. Just go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on ER Eats, and you can donate whatever you want. And we're trying to get hospitals involved in this. If you got a hospital that wants to get involved with it and get some money for the staff to buy meals for them, you can go to our email address, which is ereats@HowieCarrShow.com. ereats@HowieCarrShow.com. Give money or get your hospital involved, and we're going to try to get some of our restaurants involved too. But that's going to be up to the hospitals.
If Joe Biden were in high school, he'd take this virus out behind the gym and beat the hell out of it.
That's the only thing he hasn't said. He probably has been thinking of it. But now we know. People have asked me, does Joe always just ask for tapioca pudding? Well, we found out today in his, I guess, podcast or whatever it was with the governor of Michigan that he also likes Fig Newtons. Fig Newtons and tapioca doesn't seem to go very well to me, but what do I know?
Howie, Joe Biden calling. Come on, man. Of course we can have a virtual convention. The fact is, my friends Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford are going to teach us how to film it. And if we send out pictorials to everyone, it'll be a talkie. I mean it.
Douglas Fairbanks. Joe knew him personally. He didn't, and he knew his kid, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., a young whippersnapper.
Hey, Anderson, you know what's not frustrating? Winning. I'm still not tired of it.
Yes. Anderson Cooper is very frustrated. Let's hear that cut again. Anderson Cooper from CNN. Cut 2.
It's incredibly frustrating, I think, for a lot of people watching this, the way the president is using this and hijacking this coronavirus task force briefing every day.
Not only is it very amusing the way he is, quote unquote, hijacking his own press conference, it's even more amusing to watch you guys whining and moaning. Didn't you ever get the memo? Self-pity is not good box office. Maybe that's why your ratings are so low, lower than whale excrement.
Nancy and Chuck are the masters of gloom. When the corona hit, they danced around the room, and they knew just what to do, which was make sure this spells Trump's doom.
Yeah, we've got a cut from Ted Cruz last night. He was just pointing out exactly what Limerick guy was saying, which is that the media is gleeful. They're so excited when the death toll goes up. I mean, they could claim they're not, but you can just tell it in their voices. And when it looks like the so-called curve is flattening, to use the cliche of the month, they get disappointed. You can tell it from the way they're speaking.
Howie, Senator Bird calling. Now that we can wear masks in public, can I wear my hood? Bob Merrick.
Yeah, that was a tough call for Governor Northam in Virginia. Was he going to put on the blackface mask or was he going to put on the hood? So it was tough. It was he flipped a coin and he put on the blackface mask. And then the NBC affiliate tweeted out a picture of it, and then a few minutes later they removed it, and they said, "Oh, incidentally, too, the mask wasn't black; it was dark green." Whatever you say, network of Chuck Todd and Mike Barnacle and Mika Brzezinski and Joy Reid and Al Sharpton.
Yeah, Howie, those left-wingers you mentioned who are actually trying to go viral, I say more power to them.
I think he's using viral in a different term. It's kind of an unfortunate term given what we're dealing with here, but so be it.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, who are still making wicked awesome windows. They've lived through cholera, typhoid, measles twice, Spanish and Asian flus, diphtheria, polio, whooping cough, bird and swine flus, Ebola, Zika, and now COVID. We as a nation will defeat this. Stay well, stay safe, and stay positive.
If Joe Biden were in high school, he'd take this virus out behind the gym and beat the hell out of it.
He might even enlist the aid of Corn Pop. I'm Howie Carr.
You're tuned into the Howie Carr Radio Network.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you today in part by J.T. Kelly, real estate broker of Keller Williams, serving Greater Boston. For real estate support during the coronavirus uncertainty, call J.T. Kelly at 1-800-364-9200, 1-800-364-9200.
There are many conversations at both the state and federal level about gun control, people for and against background checks, waiting periods, and what you should and should not be allowed to purchase. The reality is, regardless of what happens, you have the right to bear arms. It's your constitutional right. You also have the obligation to yourself, your family, and those around you to lock up your guns. Liberty Safe New Hampshire can help you pick the right safe for you. Visit libertysafenewhampshire.com. Be smart, be responsible, be safe, Liberty Safe.
I'm with Dr. Mary Clifton from Boomer Naturals. Dr. Mary, what is the main difference between CB5 and CBD?
CB5 actually
stimulates all the same receptors in the body that the CBD does, but it doesn't have any CBD in it.
In this crazy time that we're in, it is so important to bolster your immune system. Go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Boomer Naturals banner to get a very special deal that's only running now. Use code word Howie on the Boomer Naturals website.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on,
A little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that woman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not
Maybe
sure.
it was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Oh, no.
Why is finding promo codes that actually work so hard? With Honey, it doesn't have to be. Honey is the free online shipping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes so you don't have to search for one yourself. No more Googling promo codes and only finding expired ones. No more digging in the dark corners of the internet, desperately looking for a discount. Just download Honey to your computer and head to one of your favorite shopping sites like Walmart, Home Depot, eBay, Target, etc. When you check out, click the little Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey has over 100,000 five-star reviews. That's a lot. So you know it must be good. In fact, Honey's found over $2 billion in savings for its nearly 20 million members. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. Download Honey on your computer for free at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, me, it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches.
Hi, this is John in the People's Republic of Amherst, Massachusetts.
This is Heather from Litchfield, Maine.
This is Camp, Wichita, Kansas, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. That's why you need Simply Safe Home Security for just 50 cents a day. Head to simplysafehowie.com and get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Should President Trump wear a mask during his press conferences?
No, and he shouldn't use a gun either.
A gun?
A gun, like a bank robber.
Oh, okay.
No notes either.
I was going to say, yeah, some days he's really mad at the press, but not that mad. 92% say no, he shouldn't wear a mask.
All right. 844-500-4242. So the state government is telling you got to stay inside. The mayor says you should be wearing a mask. You can't play golf anymore. You can't. You got to stay apart from everybody, social distancing, et cetera, et cetera. They're telling you how to live, basically. The state government, the people on Beacon Hill at the State House. So today, they were supposed to have a round table at the State House on the budgetary impact of coronavirus. Not, of course, that there are going to be any layoffs because they don't want to get rid of their hack relatives and friends and girlfriends and boyfriends, et cetera, et cetera. So they were going to have a round table. Let me just read you the story in the Herald today after it was just posted. An attempt by the state legislature to get a grip on just how dire the consequences of the coronavirus will be on the state budget was stymied by technical difficulties on Tuesday when officials failed to get a live stream working. They want to tell you how to live and they can't get a live stream working. They can't get a conference call going, basically. The state budget roundtable that will offer a first look of what's expected to be a colossal collapse in state revenues was postponed until at least next Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. It's going to take them a week to get the live stream working, apparently. After officials failed to get the live stream technology rolling nearly a half hour after the meeting's scheduled 10 a.m. start time. Sorry, folks, House Ways and Means Chairman Aaron Miklowitz tweeted. He used to work for Sal DeMacy, who went to prison for extortion. Then he became a state rep himself. That's the tradition. And now he runs the budget for unindicted. He used to work for indicted co-conspirator Sal DeMacy. Now he's the budget chairman for unindicted co-conspirator Bob DeLeo. Sorry, folks, technical difficulties as we couldn't get the website to live stream here from room 428. Felt it was important for the public to see this in real time. You mean unlike the SJC hearing on letting the prisoners go, or unlike giving the lifetime hack job for $155,000 to the state rep's wife at the shuttered courthouse? Oh, my goodness. It was an embarrassing snafu for the legislature as it starts to sort out how to conduct business remotely in a time when people are discouraged from congregating in tightly packed state house chambers in the interest of social distancing. You know what's even more embarrassing? That they can't get their act together. And they're telling us how to live. And yet they can't even set up something that your average middle school does do on a daily, if not weekly basis. All right.
But Howie, we should all be voting from home. Let's do virtual voting. What could possibly go?
$5,000 lifetime job. They wouldn't even let a Herald reporter get in on the conference call. They were. That's how the governor's council was having a meeting. There were with only like eight or nine people, 8 governor's counselors, the lieutenant governor, maybe the clerk. The Herald asked, can we have a reporter in on the call just to listen in? Because we're going to do a story about this hackorama out of control during a pandemic. No, we can't do it. We can't do it. And then, of course, they couldn't set up anything for the SJC hearing last Friday. It gives you great confidence, doesn't it? Great confidence. They could tell you how to conduct your lives because they're so together themselves. The hacks. I'm Howie Carr.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while, and some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? Because the benefits are incredible. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout your body. It even supports healthy blood pressure. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. This level of research is unheard of in the nutrition category. To try Super Beet risk-free for 90 days, visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie and get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase. Or call their toll-free number, 800-876-1619. That's www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie or call their toll-free number, 800-876-1619.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
The only French term I like is sans culotte, without trousers. I used to describe Ted Kennedy as sans culotte. because after the Bar incident, when he was wandering around down on the beach, after with his 20th Scotch tumbler of the day in his hand, stumbling around with he was just there, as the Michelle Cassone, Patch's date said, he was just there, without trousers, or as we say in Paris, sans culotte.
We've seen nothing that I can work with President Bush on, and I'm disappointed because I thought that there might be some interest because of what he said in the campaign.
President Bush, this is your brain. This is your brain on Botox, okay? That's the lesson of that one. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name BB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
You might hear a lot about Bernie, Biden, and Elizabeth Warren, but what about the lightweights who are running for president? Here's a best of the B team.
I've listened to some of my colleagues, Mr. Glover, tell you how much they like your movies. And I have to say, we didn't come here to talk about your movies. We came here to talk about your activism. I like your activism. I also like your movies, but I want to give you a chance because I haven't heard the other side other than tell you that they like that they like your movies.
I think the NRA is the worst organization in this country for doing exactly that. They care more about the profits than the American people.
I learned a long time ago about polling. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And right now, I got nowhere to go but up.
Millions living in the shadows, working some of the toughest jobs, kept in modern day bondage.
People commit crime. Crime happens.
I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's. Okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. As you know, with the coronavirus pandemic, a number of Americans have been stranded in foreign countries, and it's been very difficult to get them home. I think one of the last people to leave Peru was the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. But a lot of people haven't been as lucky as he was. And the State Department has been trying to get these Americans out of wherever they are and get them back home. And the State Department has been trying to work on this with the various foreign governments. And joining us now on the line is Morgan Ortegas. She's the spokesperson for the State Department to discuss these efforts to get stranded Americans back home. Morgan, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Great. Thank you very much. It's so nice to be. I think this is my first time being on with you, so thanks for having me.
Thank you. How many Americans are still in foreign countries trying to get back home?
So we have about 20 to 25,000 left. As of today, we have repatriated over 46,000 Americans from 81 countries. That's 390 flights. This is all since the end of January when we started evacuating Americans out of Wuhan, China. And this also includes Americans that we're bringing back from cruise ships as well. So it has been a massive, massive effort that Secretary Pompeo has had to undertake. We've never seen anything like this before at the State Department, because typically if you have to evacuate Americans or repatriate Americans back home, a particular country has a natural disaster, hurricane, tsunami, what have you, or perhaps there's violence in a region. We've never had a situation at the State Department where we have to bring Americans home from around the world all at the same time in an emergency environment like this. So it's been a massive undertaking that Secretary Pompeo has led the team, and we're getting Americans home now, over 46,000.
So how many more are coming home a day on average at this point? And what countries are they mainly stuck in right now?
So it's still all over the world. The major pockets are in Latin America, and because, obviously close to the United States, in our hemisphere, we've had a lot of people traveling there. And then we also still have quite a bit of Americans left in South Central Asia, India and Pakistan, places like that. So what's really important for any of your listeners who may have family or friends that are overseas, we're really encouraging people, please don't wait. If you want to come home, you must register at step.state.gov. Again, that is step.state.gov. That's how we know that you're an American citizen who wants to come home, and we will help you get home.
Don't you think most people have already registered long since and are just trying? Or how do they get out? Are there flights still coming in, or is the State Department running individual planes in there to take out groups of American citizens?
Yep. So it depends on where you are in the world. If you're in Europe, for example, there's still flights running, so we don't really have to repatriate that many people from that region. The challenge comes in where we have many countries around the world, of course, shut down their airports, shut down airlines from flying in and out. So when we have that situation, we have to work with American carriers to see if we can get them in there. A lot of times we will have to charter the airplane to get them home. And then in extraordinary cases, we also work with the U.S. military to get people home as well.
And how many of the people that you've gotten back 46,000? Have there been any tests done on them before they left the foreign countries? Do we know how many of them tested positive for coronavirus?
Yeah, so all of that would be under the control of the CDC and HHS. They're responsible for the health aspect. I would just say that, since we've been doing this for all of these people who may have been exposed, they've been traveling, or if someone obviously tests positive for the virus, nothing that we do is without risk. But obviously, American citizens have the right to come home, and at the State Department, we're going to do everything we can to help get them home.
I've read a number of different stories that say that Chinese nationals are still getting into the country, even though there's been a travel ban since the end of January. Is that true, or how many have gotten into the country?
Someone just mentioned that to me earlier today, that story, and I need to look into it. DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is actually the one in charge of allowing people to come in. We at the State Department, we will issue a visa, but DHS is the one who implements people, actually crossing over the border and getting into the country. So I'm sure that that will be addressed soon at the White House task force.
Are all these countries cooperative, or some of them trying to, well, for lack of a better term, shake down the United States government, as they so often do in these kinds of situations, before we can get our own people out? Yeah,
that's a great question. It depends on the government. We were pretty transparent that early on in Peru, for example, we were having a lot of difficulties with the government in Peru, and probably a lot of that is just related to the global pandemic being upon a government, and then they're having to make a lot of emergency decisions that perhaps weren't in the most organized fashion. And so we were pretty open about that. I mean, we try as much as possible to get all of these things resolved, behind the scenes with countries and to do what we can to get Americans home. And so for the most part, we've had pretty good cooperation.
Tell us about Aaron Rodgers. I haven't followed it that closely. I just read the headlines. What was he doing down there, and how did he get out?
I don't know much about that particular story, so I'm sorry, I don't have details on that one.
All right. So is there anybody else we know who's stuck overseas that any famous people that you can identify? I haven't actually, now that I think about it, I haven't heard anybody tweeting. I'm a famous, I'm a D-list celebrity and I'm stuck in Guatemala or something. I haven't seen any of that.
I'm sure they would. What we have had, which has been great, is we've had a lot of average everyday Americans telling their stories about how the government has gone just to great lengths to make sure they get home. It's just really heartwarming when the Secretary Mike Pompeo talked about this from our podium this morning at the State Department. But when you hear Americans, write letters, write notes of thank you to us for helping them get home, and they say things like, I'm reminded now why I'm so proud to be an American. You don't have countries, a lot of countries care for their people, but I don't think that there's anybody quite like the United States government to the lengths that we'll go to keep our citizens safe and secure and to bring everybody back.
So, not counting military or government personnel, or how many Americans do you think were outside the borders of the U.S. when this whole thing started? You're down to 20 or 25,000 now, but how many were there to begin with?
Well, so we've repatriated 46,000, plus the 25 left. Now, keep in mind, there is definitely still Americans overseas that are not interested in being repatriated. So this is just the population of Americans that have raised their hand, that have signed up for step.state.gov and said, yes, we need help getting back. There are no commercial options available for us in whatever country they're in.
What can people do if they've lost track of a relative and they'd like to know what their status is in a foreign country? Is there a place they can go to find that out, or is that considered private, confidential information?
Well, so the best thing for anyone to do is to check in at the local U.S. embassy for whatever country they're in. And every country will have a U.S. embassy, and then depending on how big the country is, we'll have consulates as well. The consulates may be closer to where their relative is. All of the contact information is on the website of each embassy and consulate, so you can get directly to people in what we call consular affairs. So when you're looking on these pages, you'll want to look for the consular affairs team, and those are the people that are dealing with American citizens.
Consular affairs in the from the country where your relative or your friend.
The embassy, right? That's
okay.
That's right. So if your friend is in Peru, you'll want to go to U.S. Embassy Lima and look at the consular affairs page there, and you can inquire.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're getting Americans back, and I'm glad it's working out, and I'm glad that we're not being shaken down this time around, at least not as much as normal. All right.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Morgan Ortegas, State Department spokesperson, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Thank you. 844-500-4242. Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Usually we just brush it off or blame ourselves, saying things like, I lost my mojo, or we avoid it altogether with excuses like, I had a long day at the office, or sorry, honey, I'm just not feeling it, or maybe tomorrow. But with Roman, it is easy to talk about with a real doctor who can prescribe real medication. It's simple, safe, and totally discreet. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. You're spending more time at home now, probably with the pandemic going on. So now this is a good time to finally make the outreach to Roman. The doctor will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, simple, and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to getroman.com/Howie and complete an online visit. Erectile dysfunction used to be tough to tackle, but now there's Roman. Complete an online visit today to connect with a doctor and take care of it. Just go to getroman.com/Howie to get a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's getroman.com/Howie for a free visit to get started. Getroman.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Radio Network.
Look, if one person dies, it's a painful week. And we know that's going to unfortunately happen. This is a monster we're fighting. But signs are that our strategy is totally working. Every American has a role to play in winning this war. And we're going to be winning it. We're going to be winning it powerfully. And we'll be prepared for the next one, should it happen, but hopefully it won't. Our massive airlift operation for critical supplies, it's called Project Airbridge, continued today as 5 massive flights landed in the United States packed with personal protective equipment. And our nation's heroic healthcare workers will be the beneficiaries of that. 27 more flights are scheduled in the near future over the next couple of weeks. The Army Corps of Engineers is constructing facilities that will support more than 15,000 hospital beds to treat patients in need. So they're building now approximately 15,000. They just completed the big one in New York. They just completed and are in the process of continuing in Chicago and many other places. They're incredible. The Army Corps of Engineers, we owe them a lot. What they were able to do in such a short period of time. They'll build these massive facilities, 2,000 beds in 4 days. So it's really something very special. I know I was in the construction industry, and you don't see that happen very often. I want to remind governors and emergency managers that sharing real-time data with us about equipment and their needs is very important. All of their supplies, hospital occupancy is critical. A lot of the occupancy is really getting a little bit lower than anticipated, and that's good. We sort of thought that was going to happen. And we're getting along very well with the governors. This whole situation with respect to talking to us about equipment and equipment needs, giving us a little bit of lead time, so important. All the supplies, we're getting it to everybody like they never thought possible, but we'll ensure that we can rapidly deploy federal assets where and when they're needed, especially on ventilators. We're actually getting some ventilators back. As you know, the state of California was great. They sent some back, which they won't need, and Washington State likewise. And we have some others coming back, so we're using them in areas we need them. We are pressing forward aggressively on the scientific frontier of the medical war. The companies I've spoke to, the 4 leading, I call them the genius companies, they're doing incredibly well with respect to cures and also with respect to a vaccine that's going to protect us, totally protect us. And they have some great potential. It's going to take a little while yet, but they have some great potential, some great early results. And the governor's been working hard, and we are working hard with the governors. There's been great coordination, especially over the last little while. We're giving them a lot of it.
Hi, this is Cindy from Osterville, Massachusetts.
This is Brett Rock from Dunstable, Massachusetts.
This is Amy in Lisbon Falls, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242 if you want to make a contribution to our new fund, ER Eats, Emergency Room Eats. We're donating all the money that we get. We're involved. Matthews Brothers is involved. We've donated 1,000. Matthews Brothers has as well. And just donate whatever you can. We're going to give the money to hospitals that get involved with us and let them buy restaurant food for their employees. You know, people say, well, you know, I used to work at a hospital and we got to eat free at the cafeteria. Well, a lot of these hospital cafeterias, my understanding is they're shut down now. That people just have to go to the canteen, and you know what it's like at a canteen. You get kind of tired of that food coming out of the machine, and so this is a way to thank people. Go to HowieCarrShow.com and it's right at the top of the banner, ER Eats. And if you want to get your if you want to get your hospital involved in this to get some of the money from ER Eats, go to ER Eats at HowieCarrShow.com. But would appreciate your contributions. 100% of the money will go right to the hospitals themselves. And also, we have a cheap bastard deal this day. DJ's Famous Wings. That's in Falmouth and Hyannis. They've been around for 32 years, and it's a pickup delivery. It started as a pickup delivery restaurant, and that's what it is now. They're doing safe curbside pickup, interior pickup, no contact delivery. You can get a $50 gift certificate for $25 right now, and they're open Saturday through Thursday, 11 to 8, I guess Saturdays or Sundays from 12 to 9. But they're open all the time, and they have 2 locations down on the Cape. You can get a $50 certificate for $25 right now. There are a few left, not many, but a few left. 844 and HowieCarrShow.com. Click on store, and you can see the deal there. DJ's Wings. Rob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Howie, thanks for doing such a great service for us. Yeah, I just wanted to laugh at how many different ways people are using the current health situation to attack the Constitution. On April 2nd, one of your sponsors, Cape Gunworks, received an email from the Massachusetts State Police. No, excuse me, it was written notice that all state firearms certification courses are to be put on hold,
I know.
both virtual and in person.
I know. How is it a danger to anybody to be doing a virtual course, right? Now, should the state legislature couldn't get it together today to have a roundtable discussion on what they're going to do? But I don't think anybody was in danger if they'd set up the roundtable discussion, right? Teleconferencing. How ridiculous is this? So why should Cape Gunworks or any other gun company gun shop be shut down?
Completely illegal. What they're doing.
Well,
they don't. What actually gives them the authority to shut down classes? The class is not the license itself. It's a class. It's a prerequisite. How can you shut down a class?
Cambridge, who was complaining about these, even these virtual classes taking place, and she complained loudly to the powers that be on Beacon Hill, and they reacted to that and shut down everything. And how can the gun shops be open for local police departments but not for the citizenry? I don't understand that. Isn't that a blatant, flagrant violation of the Second Amendment?
Well, there's other roadblocks that are in place because although the supermarkets are staffed and many of the small stores for necessities, the police department, the department within the police department that does the paperwork on applications is also closed.
Right.
Kind of
it's like, yeah, I mean, the candidates for office are having the same problem. You know, even if they can get a handful of signatures here and there in this, in this time of social distancing, the town halls, the city halls are all shut down. So they can't, and the state legislature's refusing to do anything about that. They've shut down the golf courses and they've shut down Cape Gunworks. They're very proud of themselves. They're patting themselves on the back, Rob. Thanks for the call. Linda, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Linda.
Thank you, Howie, for taking my call. I really appreciate it. You know, I fired off a couple of emails today and yesterday to Charlie Baker. And of course, I've yet to hear anything from him. And believe me, I'm not going to hold my breath until I do, because I think I would pass out. This idiot has closed down. Now, I've got 3 large dogs, 2 golden retrievers and a mixed breed, that I love to hike up in Lynn Woods 5 to 6 days a week with them. And we always take a secondary trail, always, because I'm allowed to take them off leash up there per the ranger, as long as I keep to a secondary trail. And believe me, Howie, when I hike up there, no matter what time of the day or year it is, or the season, we see maybe 1 or 2 people on these trails. That's it. Charlie Baker now has shut down both entrances to Lynn Woods. And today, I was lucky yesterday. I drove right up to the gate. I was able to park on a side street and get the dogs inside. Today, you can't even drive up the street because even the streets are blocked with signage saying resident parking only.
What can I tell you, Linda? I mean, This is the way they're operating. And again, these are the same people who can't even put on a telecon. They can't even have a roundtable teleconference. They can't set up the technology, but they can stop you from walking your dogs in Lynn. Thanks for the call, Linda. I wish I could tell you something else. I have no answer. It's just, I don't blame you for being disturbed about this. Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I have a great story for you. Yesterday, I heard that you couldn't get a mask, right?
Yeah.
So I made a mask out of paper towels and elastic. So on the front of it, I wrote on it, against my wife's wishes, Trump 2020. So I went to the supermarket, I went to the post office, and all I got from people were thumbs up. How do I get one? Beautiful. We love it. Right? I mean, it's like we know Trump's going to get reelected. That's what I feel. Right?
I hope you're right, Bob. I remember last summer going to the Whole Foods in Wellesley. I don't usually go to the Whole Foods, but I just needed a couple of items. And I saw a guy in front of me, an older guy, and he was wearing a Trump 2020 hat. And I said, how's this guy going to hold out in the Whole Foods in Wellesley? He did fine. He was getting smiles and thumbs up just like you, Bob. Thanks for the call. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Hey, guys. It's Grace. Howie is always...
So we are going to be...
on here. Anything going on?
So we... David Solomon, CEO of Goldman Sachs, Brian Moynihan, CEO of Bank of America, Gordon Smith, co-president, COO of JP Morgan Chase, Charles Scharf, CEO of Wells Fargo, Michael Corbett, CEO of Citigroup, Al Kelly, CEO of Visa, Michael Miebach, CEO of MasterCard, Noah Wilcox, CEO, chairman of Grand Rapids State Bank, and we had numerous others also on the call, and I just appreciate them. We're way ahead of schedule, by the way. We're way ahead of schedule. The Paycheck Protection Program has been incredible. So based on the incredible success of the program, I'm announcing that I'll be asking Congress to provide an additional $250 billion for the Paycheck Protection, which will help keep Americans employed to facilitate a quick and full recovery. We're doing very well. We're looking very bipartisan. A lot of people want to do it. And the plan is amazing. You know, they're processing hundreds of thousands of loans. And this is the big banks that are doing it, the community banks. But the biggest banks right now in our country are doing it, and they're doing it for a lot of reasons. One of them is they want to help people. The WHO, that's the World Health Organization, receives vast amounts of money from the United States, and we pay for a majority, a biggest portion of their money. And they actually criticized and disagreed with my travel ban at the time I did it. And they were wrong. They've been wrong about a lot of things. And they had a lot of information early, and they didn't want to, they seem to be very China-centric. And we have to look into that. So we're going to look into it. We give a majority of the money that they get. And it's much more than the $58 million is a small portion of what they've gotten over the years. Sometimes they get much more than that. Sometimes it's for programs that they're doing, and it's much bigger numbers. And if the programs are good, that's great as far as we're concerned. But we want to look into it. World Health Organization, because they really are, they called it wrong. They called it wrong. They missed the call. They could have called it months earlier. They would have known. And they should have known. And they probably did know. So we'll be looking into that very carefully. And we're going to put a hold on money spent to the WHO. We're going to put a very powerful hold on it. And we're going to see. It's a great thing if it works, but when they call every shot wrong, that's no good. We're in the midst of a great national struggle, one that requires the shared sacrifice of all Americans. In recent weeks, it's been remarkable to see so many companies and organizations and individuals like the banks that I just told you about, biggest banks in the world. They stepped up to help small business. They're big business, small business. Small business will someday be the big business. But the small business is 50% of our economic strength. People don't realize when you add them up, but they just rose to the occasion. Everybody's rising to the occasion. It's been incredible to watch. To honor and celebrate the extraordinary examples of patriotism and citizenship that we're seeing, I'm asking Americans to use the hashtag America Works Together when sharing stories of how we're all working together, getting through this ordeal in a fashion that nobody would have ever thought possible. It's been incredible, and that's why the numbers are so far much better. We want to keep it that way. If you look at the original projections, if we did nothing, it would be disastrous. If we decided to do something, we closed it down, had no choice. It was a good move. That was a good move. The early China move was a good move. The early Europe move was a good move. We had a lot of good moves, but closing it down was a big statement. It was a big, important thing. But we're looking to have far fewer deaths than originally thought. And I think we're heading in that direction, but it's too early to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it now because we just want to work. And I think that people are doing an incredible job. The doctors, the nurses, the firefighters, the police, all medical people, what they're doing, the bravery that they're displaying is just incredible. Every citizen should take immense pride in the selflessness and all of the courage and compassion of our people, the workers, the people that are working, and construction workers going into hospitals, knowing nothing about this problem other than it's dangerous. And they go in there to rebuild sections of hospitals, and you have people in really big trouble right next door. They know nothing about it. All they know is they're going to get it done. They're going to fix that wing so they can have more people in there. It's incredible. But this is a national spirit that won our independence and settled the frontier and explored the horizons of space. And that's what we're doing. I mean, this is all new territory. It unlocked the miracles of science, and we're doing that. I wish you could have heard the calls I had yesterday with these great companies that come up with cures to diseases, and the success they've had over the last 15 years is really amazing. So I just want to thank all of them. They're working very hard. They're working with UK right now, and the UK doctors, hopefully helping with their great prime minister. But these people are really tremendous signs of success are staring us right in the face. I think we're going to have something that's going to be great in terms of vaccines and in terms of everything else that they're doing. Just really helping us, helping the people of our country, and helping ultimately the people of the world. So I want to thank you all for being here. I will take some questions, and then I'm going to give it over to the vice president, and they're going to go into great detail onto what we're doing and all of the successful supplies and medical equipment that we're getting. All of the ventilators, I've said it, but you can go over it in more detail if you'd like. But we're taking in and building thousands and thousands of ventilators, and they're very high quality. I said, you got to go for the quality, and these are quality companies doing it. So because there is a big difference between a good ventilator and a not so good ventilator, Tony, right? We've seen that. And big difference. So we're going top of the line. Steve, please.
The acting Navy Secretary submitted his resignation today, Motley. Why did that become necessary, and what role did you have in this, sir?
Well, I had no role in it. I've heard, I don't know him, but I've heard he was a very good man. And the whole thing was a very unfortunate. The captain should not have written a letter. He didn't have to be Ernest Hemingway. He made a mistake, but he had a bad day. And I hate seeing bad things happen. Man made a mistake. But, you shouldn't be writing letters, and you're in the military. You're the captain of a great ship, and you shouldn't be writing letters and sending them to many people. And then it gets out to the media. And, the question is, how did it get out to the media? So there's a lot of bad things happened there. And I had heard he did because he didn't want to cause any disturbance for our country. So that was because he wouldn't have had to resign. I would not have asked him. I don't know him. I didn't speak to him. But he did that, I think, just to end that problem. And I think in really many ways, that was a very unselfish thing for him to do.
What should happen now to Commander Crozier, who left?
Well, they're going to look at that. I think the Secretary of Defense, as you know, is Mark Esper, and he's very capable. And I think he's looking at that right now. They're going to just take it under regular Navy channels to see what they want to do. But he made a mistake, but he shouldn't have done that. And your secretary probably shouldn't have said quite what he said. He didn't have to resign, but he felt it would be better for the country. So I think it will end it quickly.
So, Mr. President, a couple on the economic front. The $250 billion that was added today, or will be added for the small business loan program, brings it to $600 billion in total. Do you think that figure is enough?
Well, we're going to find out. When you see hundreds of thousands of applications, don't forget they're for $3,000, for $7,000. Some for a couple of million. I guess one of the banks said a couple of million. So they're for different, very varying amounts of money. And there's a limit on the top, and then there's really no limit on the bottom as to what it might be. But it's really popular. It's hundreds of thousands of applications. They really like it. What I like is it keeps these companies together, these little companies. Just like we're going to help the airlines and the big companies, we're going to help the little companies. And the banks are running. Nobody's equipped to do a thing like that, but the banks are equipped. So the banks are doing it. Big banks, small banks. We have many banks, community banks. And they're processing the loans, and they'll be able to watch it and make sure it's done properly.
Talk today, sir, as well about potentially reopening the economy in the upcoming weeks. You mentioned the other day about a potential economic task force. Can you give us some sort of update as to where
we're thinking about that? But we want to open up, and we want to get it open soon. That's why I think maybe we're getting to the very top of the curve. I spoke with Governor Cuomo, and he seems to think
does not mean at the expense of not giving men their due process.
If these women, Julie Swetnick as well, if they were all lying, why is he not maybe threatening with a claim of defamation?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242 if you want to join us. The president has taken a few questions. Nothing, no fireworks so far. He's been asked about the resignation of the acting Navy secretary. That was expected. Maudley, after he went after the captain of the USS Theodore Roosevelt. We'll get back to that in a moment. Wanted to discuss another issue here. All over the country, not just in Massachusetts, but various incarcerated inmates are trying to use coronavirus as a way to get out of jail or prison while they await trial or looking for pardons in some cases, like R. Kelly, for instance. But there's a particularly egregious case in Suffolk County, a guy named Boston. That's a guy named William Utley has been released from jail. And he was awaiting charge. He was about to stand trial for murder. A murder he allegedly committed while out on gun charges, and he had 5 OUIs as well. And he apparently he's suffering from leukemia, and he got a judge to cut him loose, even though he's a career criminal basically. And Rachel Rollins, who we've had our differences with in the past, the district attorney of Suffolk County, is trying to get this guy William Utley put back in jail because he appears to be a real menace to the community. So joining us now on the line to discuss this is Rachel Rollins. Thanks for being with us, Rachel Rollins.
Always a pleasure, Howie. How are you?
Very good, very good. So this guy has leukemia, right?
Yep.
So he was cut loose by Judge Christine Roach, I believe, a Deval Patrick appointee, Uh, why did she let this guy go, considering his record?
So we objected. The Commonwealth stood up and said, we object to any bail reduction or any consideration of releasing this person because we believe, although, yes, he has an underlying medical condition, and he certainly individually has public health issues that he's concerned about, that in no way outweighs the duty we have to the public to keep them safe. And we argued, Howie, in our emergency petition up to the SJC that we filed yesterday after the judge let him out on $0 personal recognizance and a GPS bracelet. We said, absolutely not. This is an abuse of discretion. Mr. Young was murdered. His family deserves more than that. We're going to fight this and make the SJC tell us that we're wrong to try to put him back in because he has proven to us, Howie, he cannot comport with any of the conditions we put on him. Remember, in the press release, it says he was arrested on a gun charge. This is prior to me even considering running for DA. This is back in 2016. Right. And then he was released on an $8,500 bail with a GPS bracelet affixed to his body. And while on bail, pre-trial and on GPS, he committed a murder, and then independent of that got his 5th OUI. Absolutely not. Are we gonna sit idly by after a judge over our objection lets him out? We brought it all the way up to the SJC.
He was accused of stabbing Anthony Young multiple times in 2018 after the two argued in a Grove Hill bar, and he was also charged with a fifth offense, operating under the influence, when he was passed out behind the wheel at a busy intersection with a bottle of liquor between his legs and several other liquor bottles strewn throughout his vehicle. He's defaulted at least 13 times. And he was like, and his lawyer at the hearing, his lawyer said that he could post $11,000 bail, but the judge let him go on personal recognizance after 13 defaults on a murder charge.
Howie, I know. I understand. I know. The assistant district attorney that handled this case gave multiple reasons why this individual, number one, should not even be considered for bail at all and should remain. Now, I do feel compelled to say this, Howie. I am in no way saying that I think Mr. Utley deserves to die in jail if he has cancer. I'm simply saying he deserves adequate medical treatment, but it has to be administered in a correctional facility because we are not going to put the public at risk by allowing him out to receive this treatment now and potentially engage in more harmful behavior to the people of Suffolk County or elsewhere, right?
What did the judge say? Did she issue any statement from the bench when she cut him loose?
Yeah, I believe there was some indication regarding the GPS requirement. There was recently a Supreme Judicial Court decision, Howie, that makes it even harder for us to affix GPS monitoring on individuals. You have to make an affirmative statement about that. But we don't believe that was nearly enough. He has proven to us that when a previous administration, when he was let out under one of my predecessors, on a GPS monitor with an $8,500 bail that he lost as a result of him murdering somebody and getting a 5th OUI. There is no, this is not going to disincentivize him to, commit crimes or engage in behavior. And like we know with OUIs, Howie, thank God he didn't harm anyone else. He just fell asleep at the wheel.
Right.
But in my tenure as DA, I have attended some motor vehicle homicide trials that are heart-wrenching. 7 and 8 year old children that were brutally, killed as a result of somebody plowing into them while intoxicated. I have an obligation. I know we don't always agree about things, but this is a circumstance where I'm getting a lot of pushback, I think, from the progressive bar and the criminal defense bar, but I'm making it clear their objective is myopic, right? They only think about zealously advocating for one individual, the defendant. I have to think about the entire community when I make my decision. And I don't wish any harm on Mr. Utley, but he has to get his treatment inside of a correctional facility. He's proven he can't comport with social norms.
What does an ankle bracelet mean? Are you're telling me he committed this murder allegedly while he was wearing an ankle bracelet? So what the hell does an ankle bracelet mean to this guy?
It just means that we're going to find you, right? The Elmo, that we look at the device and see where you are. Were you right there where the murder happened, or very close by when the murder in fact occurred? That's great police work, often done by the Boston Police Department, my state police, Revere, Chelsea, and Winthrop police departments. They'll pull it's called the Elmo, not Elmo from Sesame Street, but the Elmo. It sounds like the same. To see who was in the area when something happened that's negative. There's a lot of people that, would argue that that's a violation of individuals' privacy, et cetera. But right now, we have to use every possible way that we can to try to solve some of these violent crimes and murders.
So this guy seems to have a severe drinking problem on top of being a violent criminal. What are the odds that he's going to engage in the kind of social distancing that we're all instructed to be engaging in?
Yeah, right. Come on. I was at a homicide scene, Howie, 2 weekends ago with Commissioner Gross, and it was a drinking party in the back of an apartment complex off of American Legion Highway. And what was interesting is somebody mentioned, like, well, this is social distancing, requirements. And it's like, look, if you have an unlicensed firearm and are shooting into a community or have committed a murder, I don't think, guidance by Governor Baker or Mayor Walsh or President Trump is something that you're going to stop and make you turn your life around because you want to be 6 feet away from somebody. Absolutely not. Not to mention, even if I were a true believer, Howie, there aren't even Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholic Anonymous meetings happening right now. I can't even with a straight face try to say he's going to get the help he needs for the underlying alcohol issues that he has or any addiction there. No. Or if he is going to, it just needs to be in a facility where he's detained, right? And there are trained professionals to keep him there because he has proven to us. Anybody who's upset with me about this, I reject it and say, be upset with Mr. Utley. If he had behaved appropriately while out on bail, we wouldn't be here right now. He has shown us who he is. Within the last 2 years, Howie, this isn't 20 or 30 years ago that he did something. This is while out on a GPS bracelet, this man allegedly murdered somebody and committed his fifth OUI.
When's the hearing? When's the hearing before the single justice?
So we filed yesterday, and the single justice has given Mr. Utley's defense counsel until Wednesday to file their opposition or any documents they want Justice Cipher to review. And my hope, Howie, is that Justice Cipher is going to issue an opinion quickly because I argued in our pleadings, every day this man is out, it's a risk to public safety.
I agree. And, I'm glad you're taking this stand, and I can't believe you're getting pushback, although I guess I can believe it, but it's pretty amazing.
Well, I told you, Howie, I feel like when I'm doing my job well, everyone hates me as opposed to just one group or the other. So it's like mediation, right? You gotta sort of, but I told you, I didn't get in this to make friends. I feel like we have to stand up and do what's right, no matter whether people agree or not.
I think most people are with you on this one, DA Rachel Rollins. William Utley, we'll keep an eye on this one and keep us informed about what happens. All right. Thank you. That's District Attorney Rachel Rollins from Suffolk County, trying to keep an accused murderer and a 5-time drunk driver, leukemia victim. He's a victim of the crisis. All right. 844-500-4242. Everyone knows you need a great pair of wireless earbuds, especially in this time when you're spending so much time with your loved ones. As much as you love them, you may get tired of their choices, what they want to watch on TV, what they want to listen to, what they want to binge listen to, podcasts or Netflix, whatever. So what you need is some way to escape. You need earbuds, the kind of earbuds that I've been wearing now on my way to work every morning with the mailroom manager. I put the earbuds in, my Raycon earbuds, and I can listen to Chris Plant's show in the morning when I'm driving, or when she's driving usually, and I don't bother her. She doesn't If she doesn't want to listen to Chris Plant, she can listen to her own stuff, and I listen to my stuff. Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds, and you already know that Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and that they sound just as amazing as any of the other top audio brands. I'm holding them up right now for social media. This is their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds. These are the best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable, perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts.
Wrap it up.
Unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet, with no dangling wires or stems. You've heard me talk about how the company was co-founded by Ray J, and all kinds of celebrities are obsessed with Raycons. Now's the time to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
The paper boy with a big microphone.
Okay, so they ought to do that, and we're looking into it, and we've been pushing them now for over a year. And you know that because you've seen the stories. I'm pushing them. It's not fair for them to these great, wonderful modern companies. They walk into our old post office with all these routes that could never be built. You could never build them. They go into areas that you could never do. And they say, here, deliver this. And they lose a lot of money per package. And they have to raise their prices, but this Postal Commission doesn't do it. Now, we just got a chance to appoint a couple of people onto the commission, as I understand it, and that's good. But they have to raise their prices. Otherwise, they're just going to lose a lot of money. And tell your Democrat friend that he ought to focus on that, because if he focused on that, he could truly save the post office. Post office has been losing billions of dollars a year for many, many years. And have him take a look at that, because that's the way to solve the problem.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Mr. President, you say this week will be very painful, very difficult, but a few weeks ago you say this was just like a flu. What have you learned?
I didn't say 2 weeks ago it was a flu.
The question is, Mr. President, what have you learned that you could offer as an advice to foreign leaders who still are skeptical about this pandemic and who are against social distancing? What is your advice? What have you learned?
I said it was just like a flu. So the worst pandemic we ever had in this world was a flu. And it was called, it was in 1917, 1918. And anywhere from 50 to 100 million people died. That was a flu, okay? So you could say that I said it was a flu, or you could say the flu is nothing to sneeze at.
My question, Mr. President, what can you offer as an advice to foreign leaders who are skeptical about this pandemic and who are against social distancing?
Well, I think there aren't too many of them. If you look throughout the world, and just about everyone that has practiced that is now closing up. Well, the UK was an example. Now, they talk about Sweden, but Sweden is suffering very gravely. You know that, right? Sweden did that. The herd, they call it the herd. Sweden suffering very, very badly. It's a way of doing it, but everybody has been watching everybody else. And so far, almost every country has done it the way we've done it. We've chosen to do it. If we didn't do it that way, we would have lost hundreds of thousands of more people. Okay.
Mr. President, there's voting going on today in Wisconsin. There were reports of thousands of people waiting in hours-long lines as they've had to weigh their own personal health and their civic responsibility. Do you think that the Supreme Court was right in its decision that voting should go forward, the absentee extension should not take place?
Yeah. Look, the Supreme Court, of course they were right, because what the Democrats wanted, and you know what this happened. I supported a man named Justice Kelly, who's Daniel Kelly, highly respected justice. And I supported him just the other day, social media. I know of him. He's just a fantastic justice.
This is Kevin from Brockton.
This is Karen from Boiling Springs, South Carolina.
This is Officer Mark calling from beautiful Stratford County, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Congressman Jerry Connolly, a Democrat from Northern Virginia, told the local DC CBS station that you personally requested the CARES Act stimulus bill be stripped of $25 billion for the Postal Service. Connolly claims that unless the USPS gets that $25 billion, the agency will be run out of money by June. He accuses you of hastening the demise of the Postal Service. Could you respond to that, please?
I'm the reason the Postal Service has lost billions of dollars every year for many, many years. I'm the demise. This is the new one. I'm now the demise of the Postal Service.
Is there anything he can't do? Is there anybody, any agency, any business, any government, any country he can't kill all by his lonesome self? Are you kidding me? And then another scribe says, just 2 weeks ago, you said this was just like the flu. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Now he's being asked to comment. Wisconsin, they tried to. There's the primaries going on today in Wisconsin, and I mean, talk about a state issue, right? I thought they were afraid that he was going to turn America into a fascist dictatorship. Now they want to know what his stand is on the Wisconsin primary. Should the Supreme Court have allowed it to go forward? I mean, he can't micromanage the entire country. We have something called a constitution. We were talking about this earlier. It's called federalism, right? The states have responsibility for certain things, one of which is elections. You want him intervening in what amounts to a Democrat primary? The lines are very long in Wisconsin today. Is that Trump's fault too? He took time out from killing the post office to make sure that people had to stand in line for hours and not engage in social distancing in Wisconsin. With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. That's why you need Simply Safe Home Security for just 50 cents a day. Head to simplysafehowie.com and get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Should President Trump wear a mask during his press conferences?
No, he shouldn't.
92% say no.
844-500-4242. We're going to dip into the press conference as we go along here in the last half hour of the show, and we'll also be taking a lot more calls. And we'll talk a little bit about this case in Suffolk County. Texas Johnny has a good point. If that guy has terminal cancer, he may be looking to settle a few scores. I hadn't thought about that. That would be a good movie, wouldn't it? Some guy gets cons a liberal judge into letting him go, and he's like a criminal, and now this is his chance to kill people, and a detective has to track him down after he rips off his GPS for the second time. It would be great. It would be a good, actually, now that I think about it. 844-500-4242. Isn't this great though? And Rachel Rollins is being criticized. Rachel Rollins, of all people, is being criticized.
I mean, she's a Democrat representative, highly respected woman, African-American woman. I don't know if you saw it. As you asked a question about African-American, she was an African-American woman, a great woman. Her manner of speaking, the way she told the story was beautiful. I asked my husband to go and get it. He got it. She is now okay. I mean, she was interviewed last night on television, and she thanked me. She thanked me even in a tweet. She said, I want to thank President Trump. He saved my life. Look, I don't say that happens with everybody, but that's a beautiful story. There are many of those stories. And I say, try it. Okay, please. I mean, if you're in trouble, if you're going to die, and you're going to die, I mean, you're not going to die from this pill. Now, there could be some side effects, but the side effects is really more so from the Z-Pack.
Those side effects?
No. Doctors have to recommend it. I want doctors. I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying we hear great results. And some people say, let's go to a laboratory, let's test it for a couple of years. And then, no, we got people dying in this country and all over the world right now, not in a couple of years. They're dying as we speak. There are people dying. And I really think it's a great thing to try, just based on what I know. Again, I'm not a doctor. And I say, get a physician's approval. And they have physicians in these hospitals, great physicians, brave physicians. They also say it's good for the hospital workers to take them, that it's, keeps it away, keeps it out of your system. I don't know. But there's a lot of good examples. And, we have a 1,500 case study going in New York, and it's almost complete. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I
appreciate that woman. She was great. You have to see it to believe it. The way she spoke, it was like a miracle.
Taylor, can you get that cut from
And this was
the
not a
question
fan of
about
But she's a fan of mine now, and I'm very honored by it. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Can you talk about your decision to remove Glenn Fine from the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee? And does that move and some of the criticism you've leveled at IGs, how does the American public have confidence that there'll be oversight?
Well, we have a lot of IGs in from the Obama era. And as you know, it's a presidential decision. And I left them largely. I mean, changed some, but I left them. But when we have, reports of bias, and when we have different things coming in, I don't know Fine. I don't think I ever met Fine. I heard the name.
It wasn't an Obama.
I heard the name. I don't know where he is. Maybe he was from Clinton. Okay, you check that out. Okay, maybe he's from Clinton. But we did change him. But we changed a number. We have about 7 nominations in, I believe. We put 7 very, very highly qualified people for the IG position. And, that's a decision that I could have made 3 years ago, and I could have made 2 years ago. And but we're putting in, not so much for him, we're putting in 7 names. I think it was 7, and they're going in now. Yeah.
Mr. President, when you talk about the WHO being China-centric, what exactly are you talking about? Is it because China has underplayed how many?
I don't know. They seem to come down on the side of China. Don't close your borders to China. Don't do this. They don't report what's really going on. They didn't see it. And yet they were there. They didn't see what was going on in Wuhan. They didn't see it. How do you not see it? They didn't see it. They didn't report it. If they did see it, they must have seen it, but they didn't report it. Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, just turning back to the voting in Wisconsin and those long lines, who will be responsible and who should be held responsible if people get sick after they voted?
I love the state.
You also encourage people to get out and vote today as well. Will you take some of the responsibility if some of those people get sick? I won the state, which is rare for a Republican to do, but I won the state of Wisconsin. I'm going to win it again because we've been great to the people of Wisconsin, as you know, with our policies, and they like me and I like them. But all I did was endorse a candidate that's highly qualified, very respected person, and all hell broke loose as soon as I did that. And then all of a sudden they want to change. Before I endorsed them, they didn't want to change this voting area. There was no problem with the Democrats voting until I endorsed the candidate. Then they said, let's move it 2 months. Let's move it 3 months later. Safety, 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 right? All of a sudden they want safety. Well, before I did the endorsement, they didn't talk about safety. It was fine for months. For months, it was fine. It was always going to be. And now I endorse and they want safety. So that sounds.
Can I follow up? Thank you. Just to follow up on that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
I closed it down. I took a lot of heat. The World, Health Organization was very much against. They didn't like it. They actually put out statements about it. In all fairness to Joe Biden, he called me xenophobic. Like, I don't like China. I like China. I like the Chinese people are phenomenal people. So I was called xenophobic. I was called racist. How could I do a thing like this? Now, since then, Joe said that he was wrong, and he said that I was right.
It's more of the same. There's a primary going on today in Wisconsin, and the Supreme Court said, I think the Democrats tried to stop it. And the Supreme Court, they took it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, it's not our call. It's the state's call. If the state wants to do it, they can do it. And so anyway, so he's just being asked, who's responsible if anybody gets sick in Wisconsin after standing in these long lines? So think of it. Again, he he can't win for losing with these people. If he had gone in and said, I am demanding that the state of Wisconsin halt today's primary, they would be saying, he's a dictator. He has no right to interfere in a statewide election. Next thing you know, he's going to be canceling the national election on November 3rd. But so now, who are you responsible for this? Are you responsible? He was also asked about Karen Whitsitt, the woman we had on earlier in the show, the state rep in Michigan from Detroit, who was saved apparently by the anti-malarial drug. She saw him talking about it on TV. She thought she was dying. We talked to her. She seemed pretty convinced that she was on her way out. And she went to 2 doctors to get a prescription. The first doctor wouldn't give her a prescription because the Democrat governor of Michigan had ordered him not to give the prescription out to people who were suffering from coronavirus. The second doctor gave her the prescription and it cured her, she said, or got her on the road to recovery within 2 hours. 2 hours. 844-500-4242. Let's just dip back into it before we go to the calls.
Fairly, and
well, we're getting great prices on equipment. We're getting great prices on equipment, and we're helping the states. And the governors are very thankful. Mike Pence had a call yesterday with every governor was on the call, and it was like a love fest. They're very happy. I don't know if they tell that to the press. Some of them don't. Some of them will never say good to the press, but they know we've done a great job. Not a good job, a great job.
You're saying it's not happening because state officials are widely saying.
No, I think sometimes it does. And what we say is, let us know, and we will immediately drop out of the bidding. Let us know, and we do that, and we drop out. Sometimes we tell them to drop out because we've got a good price. And then we'll deliver it to them.
How do you charge them?
Yeah, go ahead, behind, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
No, not you. In front, please.
Some states have had trouble with getting accurate death counts, particularly because of lack of testing or no uniform.
Did you see death counts?
Yes, because of lack of testing and no uniform.
That's his fault too.
system
The
to
states
put that
can't
in.
get accurate death count, so it's his fault.
Death count. Somebody dies. I think the states have been pretty accurate.
But if there's no testing,
That's a big deal, what you're just saying. No, the death counts, I think they're very, very accurate. I do say this. I think if you look at China and if you look at some of these very large countries, when you talk about cases, number of cases, I would be willing to bet they have more cases than we do, but they don't do the testing like we do. But you look at, you look at some of these certain countries, and I would be willing to bet a lot that they have more cases, but we're more accurate. And our testing is done very accurately, and we've got a good process. Did you have one? Yes, please.
Mr. President, you have been very consistently supportive of a payroll relief tax.
What payroll?
Payroll relief. Now, I know you're still busy trying to implement phase 3, but as we move towards phase 4, are there still obstacles to that? Because that would put money in American pockets like consistently.
Yeah, you're right. I would love to see a payroll. Good questions. I would love to see a payroll tax cut. And I think on behalf of the people, it would be quick. Now, it's a longer term, it's a longer time because it's over a period of a year or whatever you want to make it. But I would love to see a payroll tax cut. There are many people that would like to see it as a permanent tax cut.
I think they were talking about this earlier. They were putting the bill together.
Right now, are stopping it.
What are their reasons?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they think it's good politics to stop it. But you'd get a lot of people, a lot of money immediately. The payroll tax cut would be a great thing for this country. I would like to have it regardless of this. But this would be a fantastic time to have the payroll tax cut. The Democrats are stopping it, but I don't think they're. I think there's a certain flexibility. I think it's something that we should do, both for business and the people. But this would get money into the hands of small business immediately, money in the hands of people, the workers and people immediately, and it would be over an extended period, and it would be simple to do. It's so easy to do. It's a great tax cut, and I'd love you to speak to the Democrats and let's get it done. So I'm going to give this now to Vice President Pence.
All right, let's go to the phone. 844-500-4242. Ed, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Ed.
Hey, Howie, the hypocrisy frosts me when past administration people come out and start hammering Trump on his what he's done during this pandemic. And the latest one was HHS Secretary Sebelius. Let me read a quick quote. Keep in mind, when she said this, the World Health Organization had just announced a world pandemic. They just announced it, and there were 27,000 cases and 127 deaths. She says, although we have not seen large numbers of severe cases in this country so far, things could possibly be very different in the fall, especially if things change in the southern hemisphere. And we need to start preparing now in order to be ready for a possible H1N1 immunization campaign, starting in late September. This is like 3 months from when she was speaking to say this. And this woman went through 2 pandemics when she was in HHS. Right. She went through H1N1 and SARS. And now out of both of those, Howie, there were volumes of recommendations that came out. And do you remember what was distracting her, that she couldn't implement any of these things during this period of time?
What was it?
Obamacare.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There was a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of energy was wasted on Obamacare, which was a total non-starter. And again, all the equipment that was expended in H1N1, or as Biden calls it, N1H1, was never replaced by the Obama administration. And now that's when Trump says that the system was broken when he arrived. He's not kidding. Thanks for the call, Ed. 844-500-4242. We'll take some more calls. And I think the president is through for the day. Maybe they'll bring him up for some more questions at the end. But I mean, it was just more of the same. And he was asked about the resignation of the acting Navy Secretary Thomas Modly, and he was basically forced out. This guy Crozier, the captain of the ship, he went outside the chain of command and said, why are we not doing something about the coronavirus on the ship? And he's supposed to go through his superiors, but instead he sends out to whom it may concern letter, basically, and it gets into the press, obviously. And so that Modly, the acting Secretary of the Navy, got angry and fired him, and then flew out to Guam and addressed the ship's crew and said some nasty things about him. He was angry. He lost his temper too. So Crozier's going to survive in some form in the Navy. I don't think they're going to force him to resign, but Modly had to go. So, and he's gone. He's gone. 844-500-4242. Morgan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Morgan.
We have some cuts too, if you want.
Howie, thanks for taking my call. Just real quick, I know we're getting late in the hour here. The hippies in Vermont are actually getting on the Trump train.
Really?
It's amazing.
Why?
Yes.
Guns?
Dreadlock. Guns are part of it, but it's also they hate the DNC. They hate what they.
It's the Bernie thing. It's Bernie and Bernie and firearms.
They're not. They're pretty dumb when it comes to stuff, because I've had my friends call me a racist and everything, but now they realize that the only guy they have left is Biden and the potential, not de Blasio, Cuomo. Yeah. And it's like he didn't even primary.
Right.
So they're seeing the corruption, they're seeing all the fake news, and I know people are getting sick of these 2-hour task force meetings. I don't really watch them, but one thing Trump is doing during these episodes is he's constantly shouting down the fake news.
I know, and
it's getting them excited.
I think it's helping him. I really do. And I know some of his supporters are saying that they go on too long. This thing started about an hour and a half ago, and it's still going on. But I'm in favor of it. I like it.
President, can I just check in on oil again today? I was wondering.
Oil?
Yeah.
Where is it today?
Well, I was wondering if you.
No. Where's the price? Give me the price.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
How can you ask a question when you don't know the price?
I'll look it up for you.
Okay, let me do somebody else.
How do they go to these press conferences? Somebody said something. Who said it? I don't know. The Inspector General said this about. Who's the Inspector General? I don't know. I want to ask you about the price of oil. What is it? What is the price of oil? I don't know. I mean, did these people ever cover a county commission meeting? These people ever go to the Boston City Council? Come on. This is pitiful. Oh man, got another one?
Yeah, we've got a few.
Yeah, let's have another one. Okay, we'll go.
So you were highly critical of mail-in voting, mail-in ballots for voting.
I think mail-in voting is horrible.
You voted by
It's
mail
corrupt.
in Florida's election last month, didn't you?
Sure, I could vote by mail for that because I'm allowed to. Well, that's called out of state. You know why I voted? Because I happen to be in the White House and I won't be able to go to Florida to vote. But let me just say, well, there's a big difference between somebody that's out of state and does a ballot and everything sealed, certified, and everything else. You see what you have to do with the certifications, and you get thousands and thousands of people sitting in somebody's living room signing ballots all over the place. No, I think that mail-in voting is a terrible thing. I think if you vote, you should go. And even the concept of early voting is not the greatest because a lot of things happen, but it's okay. But you should go and you should vote. I think you should go and you should vote. You look at what they do where they grab thousands of mail-in ballots and they dump it. I'll tell you what, and I don't have to tell you, you can look at the statistics. There's a lot of dishonesty going along with mail-in voting.
She doesn't understand the difference between an absentee ballot and just letting people vote randomly by mail. I mean, he's out of the state. Did you want him to fly back to Florida on Air Force One and then go to the precinct? I mean, then they would have been saying, you weren't engaging in social distancing. I don't even know if that would have been that would have been March 17th. I guess there was social distancing going on March 17th. You weren't engaging in social distancing in March when you voted. Why didn't you just send an absentee ballot? But he sent an absentee ballot, so they have to attack him for that. 844-500-4242. With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk with you about Simply Safe Home Security. They're longtime friends of the Howie Carr Show, and for good reason. Simply Safe has made it easy to finally get comprehensive protection for your home. There's no technician or salesperson that needs to come in and disrupt your house. You don't need to pay any outrageous monthly fees or sign a 2-year contract. You just order online, set it up yourself in under an hour, and your home is protected 24/7 with emergency dispatch for break-ins, fire, and more, all for just 50 cents a day. And we're not the only fans of Simply Safe. U.S. News and World Report named Simply Safe best overall home security of 2020. Right now, when you head to simplysafehowie.com, my listeners will get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. That's simplysafehowie.com to make sure they know that our show sent you. From Simply Safe and all of us here, wishing you safety and good health. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr. This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Boone's Fish House and Oyster Room on the Portland waterfront. For amazing wood-grilled meats and seafood, visit the home of the baked stuffed lobster, Boone's, Portland.
Biden might be the frontrunner for the Democrats, but that isn't stopping him from serving up a whole lot of gaffes. Take a listen.
I believe that the president is literally an existential threat to America for 3 reasons. One, he is a genuine threat to our... I had permission to hug Lonnie. He says, let's make America great again. Let's make America America again. I think I'm either low IQ or slow, or I don't know what I am. Slow Joe Biden. Thanks for the Mary, and I'm going to be here a lot. I want the press to know she pulled me close. I just want you to know, okay? President Trump inherited an economy from Obama Biden. By the way, he gave me permission to touch him. They can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the east, in the west.
If you're in or near the financial red zone, that's 2 to 5 years from retirement. Do you know how your nest egg would fare if the market had a major correction? Does your plan have too much risk? Are you being too conservative? It's time to stress test your retirement plan. Call Kevin Frisbee at Frisbee & Associates and ask for your retirement plan stress test. It's a $500 value and it's yours at no cost. 800-989-9100. Find out where your plan is today. Maybe it's time to lock in those gains, reduce your risk, and make sure your portfolio has the diversification needed to weather the inevitable bear market. Kevin can help take the worry out of living in retirement. Call now for your no-cost or obligation retirement stress test, a $500 value. Call Kevin today, 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100. And catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for a market review and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Can you remember any time in your life when you were starstruck?
One time I saw Peter Vesey, the NBA columnist for the New York Post. He was in the Herald sports department. I really liked his column, so I went up and introduced myself to him. Then one time there was Cousin Brucey from WABC, and I used to listen to him driving back and forth between Chapel Hill and Deerfield when I was in college. Everybody on the East Coast listened to him. I couldn't believe that I was in the presence of Cousin Brucey.
Do you ever play bridge anymore?
No, I haven't played bridge in a very long time. Nobody I know plays bridge. I think my bridge days are behind me.
Do you think you'd still be good at it?
I'm not a great bidder, but I know how to count cards. That to me is the essence of playing a hand of bridge, is to be able to count cards.
What is a rhino?
Rhino is a Republican in name only. Think Paul Ryan. Oh, think Mitt Romney. Think Jeff Flake.
This is Deb in Danielson, Connecticut.
This is Greg in Boston, Mass.
This is Elizabeth in Wakefield, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
The WHO, that's the World Health Organization, receives vast amounts of money from the United States, and we pay for a majority, a biggest portion of their money.
Like the
and
UN.
they actually criticized and disagreed with my travel ban at the time I did it. And they were wrong. They've been wrong about a lot of things. And they had a lot of information early, and they didn't want to, they seem to be very China-centric. And we have to look into that. So we're going to look into it. We give a majority of the money that they
844-500-4242. I'm still trying to figure out why you would ask a question about the price of oil when you didn't know what the price of oil was. Am I missing something here? Is this a new form of journalism since I got out of the University of North Carolina? All right. Before I talked to Rachel Rollins, I said I need to get the statement on this guy William Utley, because I want to know what kind of questions to ask. It's not like this is anything more than basic stuff, right? How can I ask questions if I don't know what I'm talking about? I guess that doesn't apply to the White House press corps, the cream of the national political reporting corps. TJ, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, TJ.
Keep up the good fight, Howie.
I try.
I was going to ask you one question, but I had to switch it. Are you familiar with the newspaper Epoch Times?
Yes, I'm a little familiar with it. I don't read it too often, but I know a little bit about it. Don't go too far. Don't go too far out with me at the end of the show. Okay.
No. All right. But if you read this last edition, March, April, they were saying the crematories in Wuhan were going 24/7.
I know. I saw that Breitbart picked up that story today too. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, obviously the death toll that they've reported to the rest of the world is obviously BS. I mean, we all understand that. Thanks for the call, TJ. What's going on up in Massachusetts with these incidents at the grocery stores? Massachusetts shoppers tackle man after allegedly coughing, spitting on produce amid coronavirus outbreak. This was in Kingston.
See, you laugh at us for wearing masks to grocery stores. Then you read stories like this and you wonder why people are wearing masks. It's because there's crazy people out there that do this kind of stuff.
There's crazy people everywhere, Taylor. But why are the only two stories I've read like this are from Massachusetts? This one was from Kingston at a Stop and Shop. A group of Bay State shoppers tackled a man and pinned him to the ground until police arrived after catching him allegedly coughing and spitting on produce, fanning coronavirus fears. And that was recorded on a cell phone. And then there's another one here today from Leicester. So that's in Worcester County. Walmart patron sprays cashier in the eyes with Lysol over coronavirus limit. Police. Lysol? Toilet paper? Maybe. But Lysol? The unidentified woman sprayed a worker after being informed there was a limit on the number of cans she could buy. How many cans of Lysol did she need? And what about the voting in Wisconsin? It's all your fault, those long lines, Mr. President. I'm Howie Carr.
There's an old saying in politics, if you can't dazzle them with